Good evening, everybody, and we're back to Mass Effect 2. I'm looking forward to this. I had a wonderful time in Battlefield 5, and obviously we were doing a few other games in between, but we are back to this really wonderful series. Apologies for having to interrupt the sound for a little bit. I had to just get all my menus up. So, I've kind of forgotten where we're at in this story. We're continuing on from a Mass Effect 1 playthrough, so maybe by way of a quick introduction for those. We've actually had quite a few people kind of come in. It's not just that people have come into the cast, but they've come in and become regulars since I, put this on hold in favor of some other material. But we're continuing on from a Mass Effect 1 playthrough. Now, Mass Effect 2 is a really special game for me because when I moved out of the house, like I went to a different city pretty much as soon as I could, I stopped gaming. I didn't really touch anything, didn't have a computer for, for gaming purposes. I had like a Mac for editing, but and then I'm kind of out on my own for the first time, so finances are also a little tight. So it was probably the best thing that happened for me, which was I wound up going to the library a whole lot. A habit I really should bring back, but. After this really long hiatus from games, I wound up playing, just anything that really I could get my hands on. There were a couple of things to motivate the switch, but this isn't going to be like a full-on, biography, especially because I've got, obviously starting quite a bit later, even by Friday standards. But I think probably the big thing was pretty quickly on and incidentally, I didn't really know too many people who gamed. My social circles definitely changed, and again, it's just it's really sort of interesting to sort of see how these things go on, because there's the group of people who I know when I was growing up, and I was going to, elementary, middle, high school, and whatnot. Then there's the group of people that I knew when I first moved to Vancouver and I worked in the film industry. And then there's sort of the people who know me now as an economist and somebody who, does have a higher education. And there's very little overlap between those groups. And it's very interesting to see the different perspectives. So when I was working in film and such, and because I had, my cutoff in terms of playing games happened at exactly the same time that my social circle completely changed, I didn't really know that many people who knew gaming. So it's sort of fun. I've always loved games, even though there's been an extended period of time where I didn't play any. But I kind of get to know a bit what it's like to not have gaming be part of your life and then have it be introduced. Because that's a little bit what it was like when I finally got a PC that was able to play some games, and I caught up on what I'd been missing. And Mass Effect 2 was fairly early on in it. And again, I didn't really have any recommendations from people, so there was no, I didn't know that there were story beats from the first game that carried over to the second. This was a bit of a foreign concept to me, and I'd really never seen anything quite like it. I remember loving the fact that you could, it wasn't just the dialogue options, but the fact that you had the big speech in the game. And it's also worth mentioning that one of the TV shows that I worked on when I worked in film was Battlestar Galactica, and so there's some familiar voices, and it was really obvious that this talent had been used. So yeah, it was a really interesting experience. But this particular set of playthroughs has been about playing the first game, through. And it was a really interesting experience. I did sort of bump into the sharp corners of it. I also think it was a little unfair about it. I talked about this on Twitter a little bit in terms of the fact that, you know, I really felt a lot of the side missions kind of dragged me down. But when I was reflecting on it, like, the enjoyment that I had about the later game was really, it was really sort of, a lot of that came from all of that work that I'd done before. And I think I let some, you know, my desire to have things happen on the cast override my individual enjoyment of the game. I really think if I had been playing it privately, I would not have thought the things that I was saying at the time. I think that's always a danger of playing a game on a cast. I try not to let that feeling take over, but sometimes I can't help myself. And now we're playing Mass Effect 2, and again, I have a very fond memory of this game, and a lot of people do. I'm not unique in that. But what is so interesting is to be able to come back and see this game with new eyes, not just in the sense of sort of having a better grammar in terms to understand games, you know, as an entertainment product, or as, you know, as something that, you know, I enjoy and I've come to understand a little bit better. But I get to see this with a new set of eyes because all of these echoes from the first game are coming back, and I haven't played any of the DLC, so obviously there's new content in that sense as well, and it's about as close as I can really imagine playing this game for the first time again. So it's really been enjoyable. I've secretly been, you know, really chomping at the bit to go back to this, and I'm really looking forward to sharing this with you. And the Eyes of Sin, a lovely lady to kick me off. How are you doing? I hope today treated you very well. I know it's probably bombarding you with Snapchat messages, but I really hope today was an especially good day for you. There was another thing. Oh yeah, a quick story from getting here. There is an apartment building across from where I live, which always feels like there is a fire. Hey, Casual Nothing, how are you doing? It always feels like there's like a fire engine or some kind of emergency services in front of the building, and I'll see like a lot of residents outside, and, you know, they'll usually be in a robe, and especially if it's winter, they'll be cold. And like I always just assume there's a lot of like false alarms that get called. But this time I saw a police car sort of like up on the curb where I was. I'm like, oh, this is bad. But then there's like one of those sort of like personnel carrier police vehicles and like two other ones. I was like, what's going on here? And there's a bunch of officers kind of coming out. And then I saw there was a guy with an automatic rifle and a guy with a shotgun. I was like, what is going on here? And sure enough, there's like a guy in cuffs being taken on. I'm like, I kind of want to know the story behind this, but I'm sure I'll see it on the news later. But that was what I got to see on my way home tonight. Obviously, I am clearly Canadian and just such a sheltered being to, you know, to find this such a noteworthy story to share with you. But I'm gonna go from witnessing the actions of the police on the street to policing the galaxy. Yeah, see, that's just it, Sin. Like, I know immediately when I say stuff like that, there's gonna be so many people who are like, oh, he's so cute. Alright, let's, I think probably the best thing for me to start off with is just to take a quick look at the... Oh, okay, so this is the... Yeah, I can't top your 4 meth houses burning down, Sin. But I can actually say I'm almost certain when I was working on a political campaign, I wound up knocking on the door of a similar establishment, which I'm sure is probably I got a chance to tell a very funny joke to people who work in Canadian federal politics. That's all I can. If I tell it now, everybody will just put their heads in their hands and be utterly ashamed. And I humiliated myself with accents last cast, so this one I need to be very serious and more buttoned down with. Casual Nothing's doing well. You've been busy recently, so sadly you missed the usual System Cultist Wednesdays for a few weeks. I hope I've been well. It's been on and off in terms of work. That's probably been the biggest drag down for me, but people like the Eyes of Sin are definitely doing their best to keep me happy, and I appreciate the effort probably more than I let on. And I have very little to complain about in the grand scheme of things. You know, I'm sure there are, you know, I could allow myself to become upset with any number of things that that make, you know, that happen to me, but I think overall I am in a position where most things that I encounter I am capable of handling. So I can't really choose, you know, I can't really choose the circumstances I find myself in, but I can't really complain too loudly about what I'm up against. Eyes of Sin says, when you were walking to the store back when you lived in California, a car pulled over next to you and 2 people in the vehicle jumped out. The car started smoking and then burst violently into flames, and you were the one to call 911 on that. It was weirdly normal. I don't know what to say to that, Sin, so I'm just going to read the journal here. Okay, so report to Liara's office to inform her that the vulnerable data has been uploaded, and talk to Liara later to see if she has other problems that require assistance. Interesting, so apparently I have even more things that I can do on Ilium. I think Project Firewalker is sort of that vehicle, those vehicle missions. So I guess the real question now is there anything else that I can do on Ilium? Oh, yep, the Prodigal. So I'll quickly see if there's something I can do with Liara before I head out, but I think we can, it probably wouldn't be bad for us to just jump straight into, a you know, a more main story mission, so.
Shepard. It's good to see you again. So, what can I do for you?
How are you, my lady?
How's your own work going?
The data you gave me was extremely helpful. It gave me a target. The Shadow Broker has several contacts here on Ilium. The most powerful is someone called the Observer. Taking down the Observer will put me closer to the Shadow Broker. I could use your help.
Tell me what I can do to help.
Your data pointed me at logs kept by Shadow Broker agents. The logs were deleted, but it may be possible to reconstruct some of it. The Shadow Broker is cautious. His agents are referred to only by their title and race.
My inquiries have narrowed the Observer down to one of 5 operatives. A Turian, a Solarian, a Krogan, a Batarian, and a Vorcha.
If you can refine the list, I'll know where to strike.
Do you have any specifics on these agents?
I'm afraid not. Nyxeris was lucky to get as much as she did.
I was happy to help, ma'am.
The data is our only hope of determining which one is the Observer. And if we wait too long, they'll all disappear.
Let me go talk to these people. I'll get the name you need.
This is a delicate operation, Shepard. If you shake down one agent, the others will go to ground, and my chance will be lost.
Liara is right. We need to get enough evidence to strike, and we need it soon.
I'm more than capable of handling the violence, Shepard. I need your help gathering the data.
I'll reconstruct the data and tell you what I find.
Thank you, Shepard. When you find something, call me on the radio channel we used in the old days. I can't risk handling this in person.
I'll talk to you later, Liara.
So Ilium is a fascinating planet. I really don't ever feel that I quite gave it justice in terms of talking about some of the ideas behind it. I remember it was one of the moments when I was most impressed with Mass Effect just as a game and a setting. This is a really good example here to see the change from Liara, who's a character I feel like I used a lot in the first game, and to see her now is another really great little bit. And again, it's just one of these things that I had no appreciation for. Even I mean, I might have even seen her as a character. I can't remember that all that well about my first playthrough, but clearly the context in which this is presented is totally different from how I would have appreciated it before.
Hello, Commander Shepard. Liara will be pleased to see you.
What's Liara's reputation here on Ilium?
She is greatly respected. In a few short years, she's amassed a sizable network of connections. She could have even more political power than she already wields, if she weren't so focused on her personal goals. But I believe she should tell you about that, not me.
I'll talk to you later.
Of course, Commander.
Alright, let's just take a quick second here and see... find the data fragments on hackable terminals around Ilium. Okay, so this will give me a chance. I won't...
Members of Eclipse mercenary band are facing tough questions after violence erupted at a gang-controlled warehouse. Detective Anaya, assigned to the case, has requested formal sanctions against the group. Local trader Pitney 4 has been arrested for illegal activity that came to light during the fighting.
Yeah. Okay. So I know it's a relatively simple way of doing it, but I rather like the hacking in Mass Effect. One of the reasons why I like the idea behind this is that, you know, I don't know how many people here have programmed, and I'm not a, like, I am okay, and I sort of know that in the places where I've worked, I have a reputation for being very good at computing things, but it's one of these things where, you know, the more you know about something, the more you understand that you really don't know that much, and that goes especially well for me in computing. In fact, I would argue that I probably feel this way more so with computing than I do with econ. I think probably maybe I'm just a bad economist because I think I know I think I know something, whereas with computers I know I don't know anything. But at least in my own experience of trying to solve a problem, this could be a statistical thing in SAS, or this could be, you know, trying to put together a little Python script or something like that. Obviously, working with patterns, trying to refer to things that you've seen before, just trying to make everything fit together. Like, I just think that particular matching game works rather well. And then even the, you know, the pattern matching one that you have, they at least kind of give the approximation of you, like, working with circuitry and trying to sort of short things. So it's, you know, obviously it's not going to be... There are games that are dedicated to hacking, and some of them either go the movie route where they make it this total virtualization. So like System Shock is a good example of this, where it's, you know, they totally abstract. It's like this expressionist version of hacking, which is because the internal mental processes of the hacker really do not make for good cinema or a good game experience. It's totally abstracted away, and instead they give you this visual representation of what they're doing. And then you have games like, is it called Hacknet? I can't remember the name offhand. Or you could even do something like, why can't I remember? Uplink. Uplink doesn't really, I mean, Uplink still has that level of abstraction, but at least there's sort of like you know, they at least try to make an effort of like giving you a console and stuff like that. But I've always liked that. Like, I'm always interested to see how games represent hacking, because obviously when you're playing a game on a PC especially, people are going to know at least a thing or two about a computer. Usually, you know, people who game know enough to be able to, you know, to get that little bit of extra out of their computer. They may not be like super sophisticated, but chances are if you take an average gamer and an average PC user, the gamer's probably going to know a thing or two about getting things done. So I've always liked Mass Effect's approach to the hacking minigame, just because there's just something I like about the way that it does the pattern thing, and, you know, the fact that it is a little bit of a maze, even if the red blocks do kind of move up slowly. I just think it probably doesn't get enough credit for like, as far as representing an idea that is very complex and can be the subject of a game itself. I actually think Mass Effect 2 has one of the better ways of doing that. Who else do we have here? We've got Anvar. Thank you very much for stopping by. It's good to see you. I hope I didn't take too long. And Ego Akaran, I thought you were in Johnny's chat. How are you doing? You're going to take a shower and then you'll be back. That's fine. You'll probably have finished your shower in the time it took me to talk about how much I like the Mass Effect 2 hacking minigame. Vorcha Trader has requested no further contact with the Solarian. The Solarian is becoming more trouble than he is worth. Observer recommends a kill, but she may have a grudge. Okay. I'm actually going to write this. I know I don't have to do this. And obviously Liara is the one to parse out the information, but I want to take some notes, and I want to see if I can figure out this plot on my own. And do I? Well, these are kind of my Elder Scrolls notes, but screw it. Okay. Kill. Onver says another interesting point is that the people that code hacking minigames will generally have a good amount of knowledge about how hacking generally works, though not necessarily the ones that design it. Yeah, and I mean, this is tricky, right? Because when you think of a game like Mass Effect, obviously there's a big team doing it. So, you know, it's sort of like, you know, this is actually one of the reasons why I find it kind of funny that I sometimes have a reputation at work for being good at computers, because in the end, all that we really need for work is to understand, like, I'm convinced that people could do the work in my department if they had a good understanding of SAS, which is a statistical platform. You could get almost certainly everything you need to do with that. And obviously SAS is made by people who have access to sort of lower level functions of the machine. So likewise, you know, a modeler doesn't necessarily have to have a sophisticated understanding of the computer. But we're also not, like, we're not insects. Like, we do tend to have broader interests. So, you know, the fact of the matter is you can only spend so much time with a computer, you know, remaining ignorant of its functions. Usually people are gonna, you know, learn a thing or two. Hey, Sparks.
Shepard, did you get any information on the Observer?
Oh, neat. So yeah, you only get one bullet to fire.
Let me search for more data. I'll get back to you.
Thank you. Let me know what you find.
Cool. So you actually do have to be the one to figure it out. And it seems like it doesn't give you a record of the information that you found, so yeah, not a problem at all, Sparks 5. This is my second ever time playing Mass Effect 2, but it is the first time I've played it after playing Mass Effect 1. And also it's my first time playing with any of the DLC, so this is definitely a really cool experience. Like I said, I've been sort of secretly waiting to. I mean, it's not that I enjoy. I like Battlefield 5 a lot, and I've probably played the multiplayer of Battlefield 5 more than I have played any of the other Battlefield games. So I am very happy I spent the time with it that I did. But because I'm obviously in the pocket of EA and they're paying me dump trucks of money to talk about what a great company they are, you know, I was looking forward to coming back to Mass Effect and being able to share that with everyone. Yeah, Anver, I mean, I wouldn't give myself that great of odds. I you know, 20% chance of getting it. First guess, but okay. Turian contact working well with the trader. Observer has rescinded kill order against him. Okay, so given difficulty in securing contact with the trader through other methods. Also, I want to just double check. Okay, I gotta double check this. So, Vorcha Trader has requested no further contact with the Solarian. Solarian is becoming more trouble than he is worth. Observer recommends a kill, but she may have a grudge. So to me, this does not fully So this does not fully remove the Vorcha traitor. We know that the observer is a she. Turian contact working well with the traitor, so we know that the Turian works well with... observer has rescinded a kill order against him, so there's two reasons we know. One, it's unlikely that the observer is going to call in a hit against themselves, but also it's very unlikely that they are going to switch sexes while offering the or phoning in the kill. Given difficulty in securing contact with the traitor through other methods. Dump trucks even? I think I'm missing the... Oh, of money, yes. Alright. Let's find more hackable terminals.
I'm looking for the best tech upgrades you have.
That guy's very important.
Of course. I can help you with the pencils and figure out what options work for you.
I also kind of like... One thing I kind of like about this mission is that I remember being a little surprised in this game that if you mess up the hack, you don't get to do it again. Like the fact, I really like the idea of a mission that's built around your ability to do hacks well, and that if you mess up one of the hacks, you might still be able to piece together the puzzle, but obviously you are giving your... I mean, again, it's the same trade-off that you get. If you are either sophisticated enough in your ability to infiltrate systems, or if your target has not hardened themselves enough to prevent that kind of infiltration, you're going to have more information to work with. You're going to have an easier time making your decisions. And in the case of this particular mission, if you're not very good at the hacking minigame for whatever reason, you are going to find it a little bit more difficult to make it all work out. So, the Turian's asking too many questions. Observer recommends terminating him and framing assassin or Solarian contact. Okay, so... Okay, so we know that the assassin can't be the we know the Vorch is a traitor. The Solarian can't be the assassin because they're separate. And the Turian can't be the assassin because they're the one who will be the target of the hit. I'm curious if the Solarian is referred to... Okay. The other challenge with this is because it's
has been deeply embarrassed by the recent theft of a new Omni-Gel synthesis prototype, and Taurus was planning to invest.
the one embarrassing thing is, of course, because this is a stream, I'm going into a lot of detail, and I'm sure most people spend about 5 minutes doing this thing, going to terminals and just being like, oh yeah, it's obviously this guy. But, no, sorry, I thought the bachelor party was a terminal. Wait a minute. Hey, Sir Tristan, good to see you again. I was overjoyed to see your message. I'm sorry I didn't give you a host earlier. I'm actually really encouraged by the fact that you were playing Subnautica, but I had somebody who I don't get a chance to host very much on there, so I do need to reciprocate. But it's great to see you again. Are you a Mass Effect fan by any chance? Because if you're not, this is going to be an excruciating stream for you. Okay. You haven't played Andromeda, but you've played 1 through 3. Very cool. I've not played 3 yet. This is my second playthrough of Mass Effect 2, but it is the first time I played Mass Effect 2 after doing a full playthrough of the first game, and I'm also experiencing some of the DLC for the first time. So, the smuggler and the assassin have refused to work with the Vorcha due to a lack of trust. Odd to see scruples from the men at this point. So it's possible I'm thinking that probably puts the Turian as the smuggler, but we'll see what happens with the last data point. Well, it's actually the reason why I played Lady Shepherd. When I played, I'm trying to remember. I think I must have played Mass Effect 1, and everybody was like, apparently it is the only way to play Mass Effect. And obviously because a bunch of people got mad at me for the EA article that I wrote because I suggested that perhaps the Battlefield 5 fear was a little bit about the miladies. Like just that, like it was more about the presence of women rather than any historical accuracy thing, which is obviously not an original take. It's always nice to do things to irritate that kind of crowd.
Sell at 40.
So that's a great example of, especially on this one, right? Because I clearly don't have enough information to be able to pull the trigger. If I get caught in any of these little pitfalls, you know, it's I'm gonna have to sort of go through the dark. Okay, traitor tried to kill the Batarian. Well, we already knew that the Vorcha was a traitor. Claims it was because he hates slavers, but the men were more likely fighting over money. Watch for now. Huh. So there better be some more terminals, because I don't think I have enough to go by here. So let me just rewrite. So we've got a Turian. Okay, so traitor tried to kill the Batarian. Oh yeah, so I'll write down Batarian. And then I think the last one is a Krogan. Claims it was because he hates slavers, but the men were more likely fighting over money. So I can actually cancel out the Batarian because it's male. Smuggler and assassin have refused to work with the Vorcha due to lack of trust. To see scruples from the men at this point. So my guess here was that the Turian was a smuggler, but I don't have evidence for that. Turian's asking too many questions. Observer recommends terminating him and framing the assassin or the Solarian contact. So we can eliminate the Turian. And we can eliminate the Solarian on this one. Oh, well, that's sufficient. In this case, it would have to be the Krogan is the observer. Turian contact working well with the traitor. Observer has rescinded kill order against him, given the difficulty in securing contact with the traitor through other methods. And the Vorcha traitor has requested no further contact with the Solarian. Solarian is becoming more trouble than he is worth. Observer recommends a kill, but she may have a grudge.
Shepard, did you get any information on the observer?
Take down the Krogan.
Thank you, Shepard. I'll make the call now. My people are moving into position. I'll have news for you the next time you drop by.
And we'll see if we're right. I'm not entirely sure why assassinating somebody gives me Paragon, but...
Shepard, it's good to see you again.
You did it wrong, you moron!
If he was the Observer, he had no data on him.
Wait, what?
The
He?
others have gone to ground. Damn it, I was so close. I'm sorry. I don't mean to seem ungrateful. It's frustrating to hunt someone for so long and see them escape again.
What's the next step in your hunt?
Now I gather information, peel away layers of lies, and shine light into the shadows. And when I find the Shadow Broker, I hit him with a biotic field so strong that what's left of his body will fit into a coffee cup.
Let me know if you need any more help.
Thank you. I will. Now, is there anything else I can help you with?
I kind of want to reload this because I actually want to know who the target was this time. I wonder if I can... Yeah, so there's nothing else I can do. Alright, I feel a little bad about this because I screwed up and I should pay for that. But, this is the most recent one. I kind of want to see how this one works. So, sorry, this is lame of me, but it's my stream. I probably should have saved before I did. Well, yeah. If I was going to do this, I should have saved before I made the decision, but
Shepard,
I'll make it quick.
it's good to see you again. So, what can I do for you?
How's your own work going?
The data the Shadowbrook, taking down the Observer will put me closer to the Shadow Broker.
Tell me what I can do.
The
to help.
Shadowbrook, if you can refine the list, I'll know where to strike.
Do you have any
I'm
specifics?
afraid
I was
no.
happy to
The
help.
data is our only hope of determining which one.
I'll reconstruct the
Thank
data
you,
and-
Shepard.
Oh, you know what?
I'll talk to you later, Liara.
I think I get where I got it wrong. I think it was... I think the mistake that I made is that there is... So one of these people, I believe it would be the Turian Observer, the Vorcha Trader... Or, well, not Turian Observer, but like Vorcha Trader, Solarian, whatever, Batarian, whatever, Krogan Observer. So I suspect there's probably a connection in the jobs that I failed to realize. So, how you doing, Hidden Citizen? I can't promise you love, but I can promise you something approaching entertainment if you keep your standards very low. And yeah, Sparks 5, I mean, I don't feel too obligated to, like, play in, you know, to play, like, do, like, a, you know, no pause run, or you have to, you know, you have to live through every failure. I do think some games do a better job of sort of allowing you to fail and still have interesting things happen inside the game, and this one sort of feels more like the story just kind of grinds to a halt on that one. A really good example of this, actually, I don't know how many people watch the vodcasts for the Elder Scrolls, but Daggerfall seems to do this in an interesting way, where you what seems like failure potentially opens up other avenues for you to explore, which I think is kind of neat. Hey, Johnny Big Time, how are you doing? You dashing buttery man crumpet. The only times you didn't haven't saved scums are when it was too inconvenient, or once where a game politely asked you not to but still gave you the opportunity to restart. I gotta, you know, I bought Pyre when it first came out because I really like what Supergiant does, but I haven't finished Transistor and I wound up getting sidetracked, so I've not done anything with that. Oh, I screwed up. I haven't done anything with that yet. I don't think I'm gonna make it. Yeah, like I haven't even gotten that far inside of it. I assume that it takes place inside of a computer, but I'm not quite sure what to make of it yet. God, there's so many good people inside here. So we've got Johnny. Johnny was playing Smash. He was also playing The Witcher a little bit earlier. We've got Lumpy Space 88, who I saw kicking Johnny's ass in Smash. No, that's unfair. I was definitely being very unkind to Johnny at a time when I couldn't stay around and like balance out the like I couldn't be nice in in addition to Sass and Johnny, but he took it in stride. Who else do we have? Heavy Rain. You can have one of the 4 characters you control die, and the game goes on. That's interesting, Sean Bean, and welcome. It's been a while. Happy 2019 to all of you. Sparks says Pyre's a 10-hour game, at least, but you get a lot of interesting decisions to make. Also has your second favorite cast, first one being Mass Effect 2. High praise indeed. For those of you who don't know, there's like 2 streamers who I need to be shouting out here. So we've got Johnny Big Time, who is my favorite streamer, but I need to give credit where credit is due, and we've got Sir Tristan live inside of the channel here. Now, Sir Tristan actually said sort of the thing that's music to my ears in terms of being able to talk about streamers, which is he tends to like more relaxed, more relaxed. By the way, I love this little bit of dialogue here of the. There we go.
I'm telling you, this is why you shouldn't date humans.
The friend zone Tyrion. But yeah, he made a sort of a nice comparison to my cast in terms of talking about things being a little bit more relaxed or taking your time. That's certainly putting my cast in some fairly exalted company. But last time I got to see him, he was playing Subnautica, which I quite enjoy. We also got to host him during Stellaris Megacorp, so somebody who plays a lot of games which either I personally enjoy or ones that I've actually done on Side the Cast as well. So if you are open to new streamers and new experiences, you can check him out. And then we have also got Johnny Big Time, who I always like to introduce either through... Oh, come on, where's the rest of the dialogue? I want to hear about Turian-Corian relationships. Johnny Big Time is a force to be reckoned with. He has got a tremendous charisma. He's got a ton of energy inside of his cast. He's also an incredibly quick wit. He's somebody who also puts up with a bunch of my my tendencies to like share weird stuff from the internet. When I was on my NFB kick, and I'm still on my NFB kick, for those of you that don't know what the NFB is, it's the National Film Board of Canada. Johnny's been the recipient of a bunch of very terrifying and strange movies. But again, he takes them in stride. He's somebody who's been very generous in terms of giving games to the cast. I'm probably going to have to declare bankruptcy in terms of my list of games before I'll be able to get to all of them. But he's somebody I like to sometimes workshop ideas with. He's somebody I personally love watching. And he's been a massive supporter of the cast, both in terms of just the amount of time that he spends here, the amount of encouragement that he's given me. Great guy off cast as well as on, and somebody I can't stop saying enough nice things about. So please do check him out, especially because he's been doing The Witcher recently. I know that's a really popular game, and he has been doing a great job of sort of selling me on that series. And in fact, if I do wind up playing the Dragon Age games, I know Johnny will also be someone who will basically be the reason why I play it, because he did a very good job of establishing that the mage is fast, the combat is fast and the mage is rather good. I can't believe I screwed that up. Sorry, I forgot to hit the shout out button for Sir Tristan. Let me finish that up. Johnny, do you agree with Sir Tristan's assessment? Mass Effect 2 superior to Dragon Age 2 superior to Dragon Age 1? You love to watch me play Dragon Age? The funny thing about it is that when I first played it, I couldn't really get into it because it felt like a somewhat lesser Baldur's Gate, and I really want to do I really do want to do more with Baldur's Gate, but Baldur's Gate had that one problem with me, which was I played it at a time that I really like playing mage characters, and I don't know if this is everyone's experience of that game, but it's really hard to get past some of the first encounters with a mage. Man, there's only 5 here. It's okay, so I really screwed up those data pads. I was gonna do another quick run to see if there's any other information, but that's embarrassing. I'm assuming that's not supposed to be a very hard puzzle. But yeah, so like the challenge that I had was because I was already kind of coming off this sort of rough, you know, like I have a great respect for Baldur's Gate. I think it's a really nice looking game, and I think it does a lot of things really well. And yet I never really feel like I was ever in a position to appreciate it because of some of the difficulty. And what's really interesting about that is that there's some of the things that have sort of inherited Baldur's Gate's features. I actually find Pillars of Eternity really hard to get through. I am trying my best, but it is a struggle. And I feel at times that playing that game is a chore. And yet, I think Tyranny is one of my favorite RPGs. Like, I really wish I could do that more on stream. And it's, you know, it's Obsidian. It's the exact same people. It's the same engine it's Unity that they used for Pillars of Eternity, but like obviously the improvements that they made to it to try and capture one of those Infinity Engine style games. So Dragon Age got a little bit of an unfair treatment from me because I didn't...
Hey, we're friends. I have never called you that. No, but you're thinking about it. You think it was easy growing up pure blood? I did some stupid things to get away from the taunts. The stupid drug users you're laughing at, I might have been one of them.
But yeah, so with that in mind, like, Dragon Age kind of seemed... I heard a lot of good things about it, and yet
fun for you. For me, it's the future. My clan's breeding strategy is at stake.
I don't know, like, I kind of feel like every time I ran into Dragon Age, despite all the positive things that I heard, it just had a lot of things that were kind of going against it, and I never really got a chance to really put some quality time into it to appreciate what it was. But again, watching Johnny played it kind of showed me that it was very different from what I thought it was. So, what else do we have here? So Sean B. Oh, so it looks like Tristan's opinion is actually not that unpopular. It seems that there's, if not a majority, then at least a pretty solid representation in the chat. Really likes Dragon Age 2. You think the story is better than the first, but 2 definitely feels... Oh, better in the first. Mage was not good in Baldur's Gate. Okay, good. So I apparently chose the hard... It's actually like my Dark Souls 3 playthrough. Apparently I chose like one of the hardest starts for Dark Souls 3, so I have apparently an ability to do that, so... Oh, that's lovely. I know, so for those of you who don't know, Eyes of Sin actually has a great love of the series Bayonetta. Was it for the Switch that you got it, Sin? Okay, I'm gonna try and rewrite this and see... Okay, so from data point 1. Traitor is he. Smuggler and assassin have refused to work with the Vorcha. Turian is asking too many questions. Observer recommends terminating him and framing the assassin or the Solarian contact. Turian contact working well with the traitor. Observer has rescinded the kill order against him given the difficulty of securing contact with the traitor through other methods. Fortune traitor has requested no further contact with the Solarian. Solarian is becoming more trouble than he is worth. Observer recommends a kill, but she may have a grudge. I think we already established that the Solarian couldn't have been. Okay, so the Batarian is not actually... So here's the other thing too. It's not necessarily the Observer who's writing these things. So the Batarian hasn't been eliminated as a possibility here. Oh, sorry, I got to catch up a little bit with... But the first two for the Sin Switch, Sin, you've not got a chance to play them. Yep, are you still playing Splatoon 2? You've watched some of them, never had the money to buy the games until now. You still play Splatoon and Smash. You'd like to get back into that game, it's really good. Just had a King of the Hill thing. Lumpy kicked your butt, cheeks. You play me, Sword Fighter, and Smash as your main. Out of curiosity... sorry guys, I got a quick question for my DMs. Okay. Well, it does say men were likely fighting over money, so I think the fact that the Batarian is listed as masculine eliminates that possibility. Smuggler and assassin have refused to work, so... to work with the Vorcha due to a lack of trust. I just see scruples from the men at this point. Then again, when I tried to do the sex elimination, that led me to the Krogan. So the Turian's asking too many questions. Observer recommends terminating him and framing the assassin or the Solarian. So it's pretty safe to say that the Turian and the Solarian are definitely eliminated from the possibility. Turian contact working well with the traitor. Observer has rescinded the kill order against him given the difficulty in securing the contact with the traitor through other methods. So with that in mind, we already know that the Vorcha is the traitor, which eliminates... But the problem with that is that leaves the Batarian and the Krogan. Vorcha traitor has requested no further contact with the Solarian. The Solarian is becoming more trouble than he is worth. Observer recommends a kill, but she may have a grudge. Yeah, so this is a funny thing. Like, I don't feel like this leads me to anyone other than the Krogan, and yet that's clearly not the right answer. So I am totally cheating my way through this.
Shepard, did you get any information on the Observer?
Take down the Batarian.
Thank you, Shepard. I'll make the call now. My people are moving into position.
I'm pretty sure this is a wrong one, though, because the Batarian's a he.
The Scandal Rock story of Nasana Dantius has come to a tragic end as the businesswoman was killed in her office. While police have no formal...
Shepard, it's good to see you. The others have gone to ground.
Oops.
I'm sorry.
What's the next step in your hunt?
And when I find the Shadow
Let me know if you need any more help.
No. Is there any...
Yeah, like I said, I'm just cheating my way through on this one now, so... Sorry for the silence, guys. Just have to... I'm getting answers to my questions.
The Scandal Rock story of Nasana Dantius has come to a tragic end as the businesswoman was killed in her office.
Shepard, did you get any information on the Observer?
So the last I can think of would be...
The stocks in Dantius's corporation have risen as a result of the news, with hope for more stable times for the
Oh yeah.
company.
If I read all the options...
All 5 of the suspects are male. The Observer is female. Something's not right. Who gave you this lead?
My assistant, Nixeris. She got the information.
She's the one!
Nixeris gave me the information. Nixeris, could I see you in here for a moment? Shepard, I'll talk to you later.
Okay, so I see things after they happen. That's a great little twist. I cannot believe I did that multiple times and did not see the option that says none of the contacts fit. And then obviously as soon as the game... That's really funny. Sorry, I should absolutely be paying attention, so... And sorry guys, I don't mean to jump out of the game so often, but let me just take a quick second here. I forgot how low the Canadian dollar has gotten.
New technological discoveries.
Hey, where did Nixeris go?
Skilled workers their jobs. Later today, we'll hear from
Shepard, it's good to see you again. Nixeris had some interesting data hidden away. Thank you, Shepard. I wouldn't have caught her without you. I'm one step closer to the Shadow Broker thanks to you. Here. Nixeris was very well compensated. You need it more than I do.
Did you have any trouble with Nixeris?
She was very talented. I imagine that had she been ordered to assassinate me, I had never seen her coming. But her barriers needed practice. Practice I'm afraid she won't be getting.
What's the next step in your hunt?
Now I gather information, peel away layers of lies, and shine light into the shadows. And when I find the Shadow Broker, I hit him with a biotic field so strong that what's left of his body will fit into a coffee cup.
Is there anything else you need from me?
No. You've done enough. If I find anything useful, I'll let you know. For now, I need to do what I do. Now, is there anything else I can help you with?
How's your own work going?
I'm still waiting. Still hunting. The Shadow Broker can't hide forever. Even with Nixeris dead, it could be years before I track the Shadow Broker down. But someday he'll slip up. And I'll be there.
I'll talk to you later, Liara.
So obviously I lied about the doing a main story mission, but that was a fun little side bit, so let me just catch up. I wanted to take a quick minute and say thank you very much to the Rambler for hosting me. I know this is probably not what most people come to his channel for, so if you are coming from Rambler's channel and wondering why, I do occasionally play stuff that he likes. So thank you for tolerating me. I think I have no other options. If I really wanted to delay the main story, I could start reading codex entries, but I think I'm going to do Miranda's story here.
I need minimal heat increase and speed.
Internal Systems has been deeply embarrassed by the recent theft of a
Playing Final Fantasy 13 at the moment, and the main character has the same voice actress as Liara. That's neat. I actually really have not played a lot of Final Fantasy games. I played the ones that were available on the DS. I think that's 4 and 5. And I rather like Final Fantasy Tactics, because I think it takes the... obviously it takes the... I mean, I don't dislike role-playing games, but obviously strategy is more my thing. So I think Final Fantasy Tactics had this nice little balance of... Do I have a sister? I do have a sister. Is he is he looking? Is this what it's come to? Because I don't know if I can recommend my sister. Surely his talent and celebrity are enough to take him through immigration on his own. And to the person who just DM'd me, no problem. I'm sorry I'm slow to reply, but I think well, you know, I'll tell you the reasoning after the fact. It's not Tana I need to talk to. It was... Lan. Where is Lan? So here's a question for you guys while I'm going through the level. Does anybody have a favorite... So my ideal would be a favorite Mass Effect planet.
For example, you know that new drug, the one that causes permanent neural scarring?
But alternatively, if somebody has a favorite Mass Effect race, which one is it, and why?
Okay, listen, give Thax a full refund. Do you hear me? He knows. I don't know how. It doesn't matter. Credit him a full refund.
Oh, maybe she's the host at the very beginning of the level. Johnny Big Time is a big fan of the Asari because he really likes sort of elves in fantasy games, and Asari are the space elves. He's also very... This is one of the things that I don't think a lot of people know about Johnny Big Time. He's actually very in touch with nature. He's a very spiritual individual. So he... I don't know if he formally kind of has druidic beliefs or if he, you know, just happens to align very well with those things. He likes the Krogan. Hey, I knew there's a reason I liked you, the Eyes of Sin. I did say, so my ideal was favorite planet, because for me, like, Ilium was really the moment where I was like, you know, Mass Effect is super cool.
There we go.
So...
Run away, you bastards. Give up your colony plans.
That's disgusting. You're making money off people's fear.
Yes, I am. By the shipload. Whereas your stock just fell like it was in a high-gravity environment.
Damn it.
Yes, it is also worth mentioning that Johnny Big Time's testicles actually need to be stored in a wheelbarrow that he carries with him all the time. But yeah, so for me, the ideal was actually a favorite planet, because the planets tend to sort of have... It's kind of like each planet has a little bit of an idea behind it, so this one is clearly capitalism run amok, or libertarian, you know, dream, or what have you. And I know, like, because I'm the econ guy, it tends to be the sort of thing that people would sort of assume that I might be wrong. But yeah, like I just liked this environment, and I was like, wow, this is kind of continuing on in the kind of science fiction I like, which is about idea. Like it's a big fun space opera, which is great, but it is clearly about other ideas, and those ideas are presented in the environment. And that was really the moment where I knew that Mass Effect was a cut above and a really special thing that I'd clearly been missing out on. But I'm not necessarily sure that everybody necessarily has a favorite planet. So my secondary position was if people have a favorite race, and the Eyes of Sin indicated my favorite. I quite like the Quarians. I specifically like Tali, but I know Tali is a little bit of a fan favorite. And what else do we have here? So Sparks5, you like all races, but honestly, you love all of them, except one on Andromeda, but your favorites are the Drell and the Turians. Who are the Drell again, Sparks? I feel like I should know this, but I don't have it on hand. The Turians are definitely quite cool. And I really like the character Garrus, but so as much as I like Tali, I like the idea and everything about the Quarians, whereas the Turians I find interesting, but I specifically like the character of Garrus. That's kind of the division that I always come up with for me. The Drell or the Green Oh, yeah! I actually... So, again, I don't know anything beyond Thane, but I really like the animation for Thane. I like how precise he is in his movement. Sorry, guys, you can't see the bachelor party. What else do we have here? Thank you very much for that host, by the way, Captain Shield. Krogan remind you of the Potato Men for Doctor Who. I've never seen Doctor Who, so... first Mass Effect planet you remember is Tachanka, but you wouldn't say that's your favorite. Johnny has a pocket dimension. Not a problem at all, Captain Shield. I've mostly been going through some side missions and chatting with everyone, so... what else do we have? Oh, I didn't know...
Excuse me, I'm waiting for someone.
Yeah, but...
Excuse me, I'm waiting for someone.
But...
Excuse me, I'm waiting for someone.
If you're hurting for things to do, maybe after work we could catch a vid or something.
Oh, that's sweet. But I'm okay. A little dry spell isn't gonna kill me.
We could watch Fleet and Flotilla. It got awards for its portrayal of the Turian and Quarian relationships.
Get in there!
If worst comes to worst, I did have the nerve stimulation program built into my suit.
And I hear that the love scenes are... What?
Oh yeah. Standard equipment for any responsible adult. Oh here, let me fire it up. Excuse me, human. Private conversation.
A little space, please.
Can I use, like, my special Spectre cloaking abilities? You're not sure you like the Geth, but you love Legion? Oh yeah. I mean, I don't think I have an empty cup anymore, but I can try and do my Legion voice. Your favorite race are the... Wait a minute! Legion's not... No, Legion is the... I was thinking of Sovereign. Sovereign's a Reaper. Yes, we haven't run into Legion yet, but I think I know who you're talking about.
Excuse me, I'm waiting for someone.
Yeah, me. Come on.
Excuse me, I'm waiting for someone.
Your favorite race are the Turians because of Captain Friendzone there. Sorry, guys. I'm just going to take a minute here and figure out how to trigger this. I don't normally like doing walkthroughs, but we're going to be here all night. I'm assuming this is going to be something as obvious as me failing to realize... Oh, wait a minute. Do I really have to go back to the Normandy to switch the team? You don't remember his name, but the one... Wait a minute. You don't remember his name, but the one who's friendly with the Doctor is your favorite guy? He always wants to destroy... Is this a Doctor Who thing? The only thing I know about Doctor Who is that the guy who plays Malcolm Tucker from In the Loop and The Thick of It got to play it. And if you have not seen In the Loop or The Thick of It, he is amazing. The best that I can say, the only term that I can really use to describe that TV series and that movie is volcanic profanity. It is spectacular. Going to head out to play some games with a friend. Have a good rest of your stream. Thanks, Casual Nothing. I know there wasn't a whole lot to go on, so thank you for hanging out. If you don't mind, if you can say it before you head out, I'd love to know what games you're going to be playing. If you're already on your way out, thanks for stopping by, and I will see you next time. Okay, so I'm bringing Miranda, and I always have to bring Tali. Tali's part of the A-team. And sorry, I'm just going to take a quick second to look at the... I really need to see Doctor Who.
This is a recall notice. All users of Koros brand medical radiation...
Oh, Path of Exile? I always keep thinking PoE is...
You have to give the Asari credit. Ilium is a cultural marvel. Humanity can learn a lot from their ingenuity.
I always keep thinking PoE is Pillars of Eternity, but... Chalks SJW. Oh yeah, because of the because of the all lady squad. See, the trick is that I really like Tali, and so that's guaranteed that so the fact that I really like Tali means that 1/3 of my squad is always, or sorry, 2/3 of my squad is always going to be a lady. And so in this particular case, because I have to have Miranda, I think my original setup when I first played this game, I had the man shepherd, but I think the default man shepherd looks like a bit of an asshole, so I changed it. He was not an attractive man, but he looked very like Roman emperor kind of. Or at the very least, like a well-positioned Roman governor. My usual default squad, I think, was Tali and Garrus. And that was largely because I like those characters. Hey, Smichette! Yes, we're done with Battlefield 5, and we are back to Mass Effect 2 for as long as I can. The old one or the new one? Sorry, Captain Shield, I think I've missed what you're asking.
Ms. Lawson, I'm glad you've made it. We've had a complication.
What happened? Is Ariana all right?
She's fine, but you listed a man named Niket as your trusted source. He contacted me, warning that your father has sent Eclipse mercenaries to make a sweep. He suggested that the mercs might be watching for you personally. He's offered to escort Oriana's family to the terminal instead.
You didn't mention anything about Niket. He's a friend. He and I go back a long way.
Do you want to bring in any of your other Ilium contacts, Ms. Lawson?
No. You and Niket are the only two I trust on this.
Sorry guys, 1 second here. Sorry guys, just 1 more second. If you really want to watch Doctor Who, start with the old black and white seasons. Doctor Who, you said you need to watch it, the old one. Like, I have not seen anything of Doctor Who. I've not seen a single episode of that series. Although I really like the theme. Okay.
What information do you have about the mercenaries?
I've confirmed that they're Eclipse, and that they're working for an organization Ms. Lawson warned us about. I could try to alert the authorities, but so far they've done nothing illegal.
You made the right decision. We'll handle this ourselves. It's your sister, Miranda. What do you want to do? Lantea, we'll follow Niket's suggestion.
I don't get Tinder
Shepard
matches, Sean
and I will take
Bean.
the car and draw their attention. Have Niket escort the family to the shuttle. Give him full access to the family's itinerary, just to be safe.
Understood, Ms. Lawson.
So the plan is for us to get shot down by Eclipse while your sister gets to safety?
Eclipse will be under orders to take my sister alive. They won't risk anything that could kill us.
I doubt Eclipse will send all their people just to stop you. Do you want to give Niket any backup?
Niket can take care of himself. Besides, any armed backup just draws attention to him.
Speaking of black and white, Johnny, have you watched that opening speech yet? God, there was something else. Oh yeah, one of the things that I was going to mention, so this is one of the things that I liked about Ilium that I mentioned, is that I am not someone who would like to live on Ilium. Well, you know what? I'm stopping this stream and I'm subjecting you all to the 7 minutes of it right now. No. Actually, you know what? I am going to abuse my authority here, though, so I'm going to take a quick minute. And so I put this out on Twitter, but I'm noticing that when I'm doing the Canadian films, almost nobody clicks on them. Twitter does tell you whether or not people click the links. So this will probably be somebody who I write a blog about. Norman McLaren is a really big figure in the history of Canadian film, and specifically the National Film Board. And I put this out on Twitter, but I know not too many people saw it. So he was asked to give an opening speech at the first Montreal International Film Festival, and that link that I just gave you is what he did for that invitation.
I'm ready whenever you are, Miranda.
That wasn't quite what I wanted to click, but there you have it.
I appreciate this. I hadn't planned on Eclipse, but they never planned on you.
Anyway, if you don't wind up watching the stream for that film, I'm not going to be upset, because I actually think it's a good speech. All right, we've got Miranda, and I insist on bringing Tali. Oh yeah, I was going to talk about Ilium.
Damn it! Eclipse mercenary gunships. They'll be dropping troops in the cargo areas.
Put us down in that cover behind them.
Let's hope they really do want to take us alive.
Hold fire! I said hold fire, damn it! I got this.
Since you're not firing yet, I trust you know who I am.
Yeah, they said you'd be in the car. You're the bitch that kidnapped our boss's little girl.
Kidnapped? This doesn't involve you. I suggest you take your men and go.
Think you've got it all lined up, huh? Captain Inyala's already moving in on the kid. She knows about Niket. He won't be helping you.
What do you mean Niket won't be helping us?
Nothing you need to worry about. Nobody's gonna get killed unless you do something stupid. You walk away now, the girl goes back to her father, and everybody's happy.
Everybody but my sister. And me.
Should we be talking to Captain Inyala about this?
You don't want to talk to the captain. She's not as polite as I am. She's the best commando I've ever seen. I've seen her tear people in half with her biotics. And she's getting paid a lot to stop you.
She gets in my way, she'll never have a chance to spend it.
Wait, Miranda, you said she was your twin sister.
That what she told you? No, this crazy bitch kidnapped our boss's baby daughter. He's been looking for her for more than a decade.
It's complicated, Shepard. We share the same DNA, just not the same birthday.
You took a baby from the richest guy in the galaxy, lady. I don't know what your damage is, but you're not getting away with it.
You're not getting Miranda's sister. If you push this, it'll go badly for you.
Captain Inyala ordered us to give you one chance to walk away. This whole time we've been talking, my men have been lining up shots. When I say the word, we unleash hell on your squad. So I suggest you walk away nicely, unless you want things to get ugly.
We've got casualties! Hostile spotted.
This is what I mean when I say it's not always going to be, it's not necessarily a Paragon run.
That one! Watch out! That's Fire!
Oh, not quite the weapon I wanted.
Come on, we need to get to Niket.
I will admit, it is tempting to always go for the renegade choices because they tend to be very satisfying cutscenes. No, Domi is not combined today, but I'm also streaming quite late tonight, Captain Shield, so...
Hang on, I've got one of
Apparently a bit of fan service on this
one.
one.
See if I can get an idea of what we're up against. Shepard, I think I owe you an explanation. Oriana is my twin, genetically. But my father grew her when I was a teenager. She was meant to replace me. I couldn't let my father do to her what he did to me. So I rescued her. She's almost a woman now.
I can understand choosing to go your own way, but you stole a young child from her father.
If you knew my father, you would understand. I wasn't the first one he made. I was only the first one he kept. I was brought up with no friends, pushed to meet impossible demands. I wasn't a daughter to him. I don't know what I was. Oriana has had a normal life. I made the right decision.
Why didn't you tell me that we were saving a kid?
She's not a child. She'll be 19 this year. But, well, it didn't seem relevant at the time, I suppose. There are people who'd use her against me. I'm very protective when it comes to Oriana. I'm sorry I didn't trust you sooner. You deserved to know.
If Eclipse knows where Oriana is, they'll be moving in on her soon. We need to hurry.
Agreed. I'm a bit worried by what the Merc said. If they've got to Niket somehow, this is going to be harder than I'd planned. According to the specs I reviewed, we'll need to cut through the cargo processing yard to get to Oriana.
Can you tell me anything about the cargo processing yard?
We'll be moving through conveyor systems. There'll be a lot of movement. Finding targets won't be easy. We'll need to stay sharp. And these cargo transports carry hazardous materials. So watch what you shoot at.
I hope your friend can be trusted.
Absolutely. Niket is one of my oldest friends. I guess you could say he was my only real friend. He's the only person I didn't cut ties with when I left my father.
Is there a chance your father could be using Niket to get to you?
I'm sure he's tried, but Niket's one of the few people who understands what my father is really like. I trusted him with my life when I ran from my father, Shepard. He won't betray me now.
Let's go find Niket and Oriana.
Right. They're on the far side of the conveyor line. Time your shots.
Get ready to fight.
You're dead! Watch for the drone! We need a medic!
I'm a little disappointed that didn't take the guy out, but... So Ego got to see the film. There's a very good intro speech. Yeah. Welcome. Yeah. So I think the thing that I like, there's a lot of things that I like about it, and I've watched it probably 4 times at least now, and I think it's a perfect answer for what happens if you get a filmmaker and ask him to give a speech, because of course we watch filmmakers for usually not for the speeches. We tend to watch them for the opposite of speeches. This thing is a lot weaker than I remember it being. I do like the slow motion sounds. Fire, please.
There we go. We need a medic.
This is a melee weapon, right? Oh, Jesus. Okay. I don't know what killed me, but I feel bad about it. Ah! Oh, Jesus. The Eclipse Trooper very correctly assumes that there is absolutely no harm that I can do to them.
This will put them down.
My Miranda, your voice is so deep.
I'll take it.
Have you ever watched 12 Angry Men? I like 12 Angry Men a lot. I think Sidney Lumet is a really great director too. And not in, like... So there was a... during Battlefield, and I'm not entirely sure I came off very well during this, but there was this kind of exchange that we had about this idea of like the auteur and how I don't find it a very helpful model for thinking about film or game development. So like, what I mean by this is I know like a lot of people really like figures like, you know, Kojima or something like that. And obviously, like, this is not to diminish the talent that these people have as creators and as people who organize groups, but I think for collaborative efforts like film and video game creation, it's not a very helpful model, and I tend to think it tends to shortchange the people who contribute. And this is specifically because, like, I've been on a set and I kind of know how it works. Obviously, when you're working with a group of people, kind of that cluster tends to generate ideas in a way that working in isolation does not. To give you another example, I would never want to say that Christopher Nolan is anything short of a remarkably talented filmmaker, but I will also point out that Christopher Nolan is colorblind. So clearly there is some amount of work that's going into the films that cannot be his contribution because he simply sees differently from what the average audience is going to. And yeah, I'll be getting back to 12 Angry Men. And then the other example that I can take is obviously a lot of people here like Cultist Simulator. Now, Cultist Simulator is about as close as you can get in terms of stuff that we have sort of readily available to us to talk about, in terms of sort of one visionary bringing this all together. But even then, that game is the product of, you know, two principals and a lot of contractors. And again, it's not to take away from the talent on display, and, you know, again, you know, so I'm a huge fan of Stanley Kubrick, and I think, you know, obviously Stanley Kubrick had a lot of control over the films that he made, but obviously he worked with top-tier talent. You know, his last movie had Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, for crying out loud. I cannot shoot anything today. And so the idea here is more to talk about ways that we can sort of enhance our enjoyment of these kinds of projects by having a sort of a realistic account of how they were created, rather than this sort of hero worship that we tend to get into. And I think a lot of this is a product of marketing. So the reason why I'm talking and sort of relitigating some of these issues is I think that Sidney Lumet is a great example of a director who demonstrated a consistency in terms of the type of, you know, the type of filmmaking that he did. But unlike some of the figures that people like to point out as like these great, you know, all-time great filmmakers, the thing that's great about Sidney Lumet is, like, you look at the list of stuff that he's done, and I'll even just mention two: 12 Angry Men and Network. They are incredibly well directed. The performances that come out of those movies are some of the best that those actors have given, in my opinion. Another thing that's really worth mentioning about Network in particular, but I think 12 Angry Men, like 12 Angry Men takes place in one room, basically. But it's really compelling stuff. Network has got, you know, I would argue it's really hard to identify who the quote-unquote main character of Network is. And yet that story's told in something like 90 minutes or like 110 minutes. And a lot of this is a product of being able to sort of know what is essential for telling that story and being able to move forward with it. But also, again, being able to pull out the most from your collaborators. So incidentally, if you guys have not seen either of those movies, 12 Angry Men or Network, do check them out, because they're older movies, but they are... Network still holds up today. And 12 Angry Men, I think, is a really wonderful example of just really top-tier filmmaking. And again, it's actually... 12 Angry Men would be a perfect case study for somebody wanting to make independent films, because, like, that, you know, there's no special effects budget, there's no, you know, all of it is just purely the drama, and it's great for it. Like, I like that movie a lot. A Chocolate Fish, thank you very much for the follow. I think we are replacing somebody who was absolutely disgusted with me playing a game by Electronic Arts. So thank you for making me whole again. I'm glad you're enjoying this stuff. Sleepbringer, long time no see. Let me catch up really quickly with chat because I was busy monologuing and I would say shooting bad guys, but in reality I was shooting a lot of the walls. So, we've got Johnny Big Time with a spoonful of peanut butter, and he's ready to rock. I hear a spoonful of peanut butter makes the medicine go down. A spoon of peanut butter fills your craving for sweets without being horrible. That's a really good point, Johnny. I never even thought of that. Because I'm actually really bad. Like, I try not to buy... I try not to buy candy, because if I do... I like never stop. Like I develop a habit really easily. So I think I just shot Tali's drone. That's totally on me for doing that. Smooth peanut butter. You like both a lot, but sparingly. You're a smooth lover. Yeah, Christopher Nolan's colorblind. Little known fact. He shot Insomnia in Vancouver. I think his cinematographer for that one was Wally Feister. I don't think he uses Wally Feister for his more recent films, though. Sleepbringer, it is great to see you again. Happy 2019. How are you doing, my friend? And are you still streaming? Because I have not seen you online in a while, but this is as much a statement of my lack of presence on Twitch. Guys, for those of you who don't know, Sleebringer is one of the people who knew kind of knows me from the early times of my stream. Most of the time that I see Sleebringer, I've seen him play fighting games, but this might just be betraying how long it's been since I've seen a cast of his. But definitely a fun guy, definitely a big supporter of this channel, and I am utterly amazed that he still visits me. Anybody who's there from such a long time, like I'm kind of accustomed to long-standing people just kind of not being around anymore. So I'm absolutely delighted when I see people like Sleepbringer stop by, because he's a stand-up gentleman, and it always brings a smile to my face when I get to see him. You're reading how the start of the movie, the camera is above all the jurors, as if you can control them, but lowers throughout. Yes. And actually, if you want an example of a movie that does... Sorry, guys, I'm going to pause the gameplay for a little bit just so I can respond. So Sean Bean's talking about some of the choices of framing in 12 Angry Men. So start moving, it's kind of top down. I think one of the things, it isn't even necessarily a statement of... So obviously how you read a particular photograph is sort of up to you, but if you think about it right, what do you think about in terms of a jury room? You talk about this objectivity that you're getting to the facts, and people will be confronted with the facts and come up with the final decision. And of course, as the movie progresses, you see that that is not what's happening in that room, and you get a closer connection with the individuals and you find out what is going on. So that's another thing that you can take, is that, you know, you have almost this God's eye or this objective view, and you go from what you would perceive as being the objective to the subjective. You are looking them, you know, face to face almost. But you're right. Also, you know, there's in standard coverage too. Usually, the more intense the conversation, the tighter the lenses, and so on and so forth. So there's a few different ways that you can motivate those choices. What else was I going to say about the... So another movie that actually does a great little effect of this is, if you guys ever see the movie Searching for Bobby Fischer, it's not even necessarily that it's like a top-tier movie, but the cinematographer for it is Conrad Hall, who is, in my opinion, the greatest cinematographer who ever lived. Like, if there was one person when I was working in camera who I wanted to be, it would be Connie Hall. And he did a lot of Sam Mendes' movies, so American Beauty and Road to Perdition. He did In Cold Blood, which has got a really great little moment of lighting in it, something that apparently happened totally by accident. But this Searching for Bobby Fischer movie, like, I really liked chess when I was growing up. I'm not too good at it now. I actually kind of wish that I could get back into it. But what's so interesting about chess? Like everybody sort of associates it with sort of strategy and thinking and all of that. And of course, the challenge that you have in terms of a movie is that in some ways, chess is very photogenic. You know, you can put a chess set and it will mean something. And in another sense, the process of thinking and like, let me put it to you this way. If you're a cinematographer, you are responsible for the image. You are responsible for sort of communicating this particular idea visually. You know, the director needs to think a little bit in terms of the overall set of shots that they will be taking into the editing room later. Not that the cinematographer is indifferent to it. And then, of course, they need to consider the performances and how they'll be, you know, how they'll be realized in the context of an edit. But the cinematographer, if they're good at what they do, they need to think about how they are portraying a particular idea visually. And so if you think about it, in one sense, chess just looks cool. Like, chess is a beautiful game. But how do you visually communicate a chess player thinking? In some senses, you also have this problem in a game like A Beautiful Mind, that older Russell Crowe movie about John Nash. By the way, there's a huge game theory mistake inside that movie, which I can share with you maybe at the end of the cast if you want. But, and it's a game theory mistake that all of you should be able to get if you think about it, by the way. But searching for Bobby Fischer, if you think it like chess, people moving chess pieces is visually compelling, but obviously people take time to think, and it's hard to communicate how they're thinking about their chess moves. So if you look at that movie, even just look at still frames from it, the way that Conrad Hall solved that is that you have, everybody kind of knows about the rule of thirds in photography, so you tend to want to put things sort of in the thirds of the shot. Like, that's what's happening right now. If you divide this frame vertically, you'll notice that Shepard is currently sitting in like the bottom of the 4 quadrants that will come up from that rule of thirds. So this is just something that tends to happen, and I don't think I have too much control over that. I think Shepard tends to wind up being in there. Well, actually, you know what? That shot was a lot better.
Right.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that, but anyways. So what Conrad Hall does in Searching for Bobby Fischer is that the eyes of the characters are actually not framed that way. They're about as high as you can get in the frame. It actually sort of forces you to move up and to sort of come to them. And I don't know why, but I've always thought that that was a really effective way to photograph thinking. It's like, it's a way, it's something that you can only really do in movies. But I think it's one of the most effective ways that people have been able to like make thinking about chess moves cinematic. So anyways, that was because of the 12 Angry Men thing. As you can see, I'm an incorrigible film nerd, so Johnny's had to put up with these rants all the time. I'll try and do an analysis like that on Stone Cold, by the way, Johnny. So Sleepinger, doing great. Happy New Year. You've not streamed for quite some time. Glad to see you're doing well. Still like to check on from friends from back during that time. Makes you happy to see that you're all still going. Yeah, well, actually, the Sleepinger, it's worth mentioning. I've been on Steam a couple of times with Cultist Simulator. So I've had a couple of opportunities to do really cool things that are not on this platform. So I love people who stop by, and I kind of get a chance to share some of the cool stuff that's been going on. But I hope things have been going well with you. I know you were in school I'm pretty sure you were in school the last time I talked with you. Have you graduated, or are you still plugging away at that? I don't think I've been streaming for 4 years. I think probably 3 years, or maybe I'm just trying not to. Maybe I'm trying not to age myself.
She's feeding misinformation about Niket making a switch. Or maybe it means something else. Niket wouldn't do that. Damn it, why won't the thing go any faster?
What makes you so sure that Niket wouldn't turn on you?
He could have turned on me when I ran away. I'm sure my father tried to buy him off. If he didn't do it then, why would he do it now?
Did Niket know that you took Oriana from your father?
No, he just found out about that recently. It was too personal to involve someone else. I never really thought about it, but maybe... No, he'd have to understand why I did it. He knows what I went through.
We won't know anything until we find Niket.
And then I'll have a
The
word
cat
with this
betrayed her.
captain and Yala.
Listen to me. I've got authorization to change their booking.
I'm sorry, sir. We're under security lockdown. Until the situation in the cargo terminal is resolved, no passengers can be rebooked.
This isn't worth my time, Niket. I get paid regardless of how the girl gets there.
No. I was told that I could handle this my way. We're not traumatizing the family any more than we... Miri.
This should be fun.
Wait a minute, why didn't the Eclipse just gun us down when we started drawing our weapons?
How do you want to handle this, Miranda?
Why, Niket? You were my friend. You helped me get away from my father.
Yes, because you wanted to leave. That was your choice. But if I'd known that you'd stolen a baby...
I didn't steal her. I rescued her.
From a life of wealth and happiness, you weren't saving her. You were getting back at your father.
How did Miranda's father turn you?
They told me you kidnapped your baby sister all those years ago. They said I could help get her back peacefully. No trauma to the family. I told them you'd never do that. They could go to hell. Then you finally told me what you'd done. I called them back that night.
Why didn't you call me, Niket? We've been through a lot. You could have at least let me explain.
I deserve to know that you'd stolen your sister, Miri. I deserve to know you were with Cerberus. But I had to hear it from your father first.
I knew Eclipse was willing to get their hands dirty, but kidnapping a kid?
I'm not stealing her. I'm rescuing her. Come on, Niket. Let's finish this bitch off and get out of here.
Take your best shot.
I was just waiting for you to finish getting dressed. Or does Cerberus really let you whore around in that outfit?
I remember really liking that line.
Whether or not you agree with Miranda, Oriana has been with her family for years now.
Her father can still give her a better life.
You don't know what my father wants for her.
I know that I've been poor, Miri. I didn't much care for it.
He wants to take a girl away from the only family she's ever known. Doesn't that tell you what he really is?
If you're working for Miranda's father, that means he knows about Oriana. We need to find a new solution.
Miranda's father has no information about Oriana. I knew you had spy programs in your father's system, Miri, so I kept it private. I'm the only one who knows.
Which means that you're the only loose end. This isn't how I wanted it to end, Niket. I'm going to miss...
Miranda, wait. You don't want to do this.
This has to end here, Shepard. My father will keep trying to find Oriana.
Maybe Niket can help. Talk to your father. Just say you got here first.
I'll tell him that you hid her. That I don't know where she is.
I never want to see you again, Niket.
Done. Now, if you don't mind, I have a shipment to deliver.
You'll die for that, bitch!
You've been spotted.
That is great news to hear, Sleepbringer. I'm sorry it took me so long to reply, but where is the new job, or what are you doing, if you don't mind me asking? Not so good. Okay, I'm thinking if we take out the captain, then I don't need to worry about the ads anymore. I know slowing things down is supposed to make it easier, but I'm really bad at aiming in the easy mode. And in general, for that matter, but... Okay, apparently I still need to care about the ads.
There could be more Eclipse mercs near the shuttle. I want to make sure Oriana and her family get on safely.
So one of the things I wanted to talk about on this mission in particular, this locket has a picture of an Asari and a human man. It doesn't look expensive, but it likely holds sentimental value. Find the Asari looking for her missing locket and deliver it to her. I think one of the things that I like about this particular mission being set on Ilium, you've got the idea of Miranda's father, who's obviously very wealthy and somebody that she does not want to, you know, sort of have control over her sister. But there's also sort of a deeper level. So it's something that Miranda says in the dialogue in terms of talking about how Ilium is a cultural marvel, and I like the fact that it is very easy when you do planets like this to make it, you know, capitalism bad, because again, I mean, most creative people tend to take that view, and I'm not unsympathetic to it. I know that I do tend to be a little materialist in my thinking, but you know, again, I wax poetic about, you know, 12 Angry Men and searching for Bobby Fischer and stuff like that, so, you know, I have at least an approximation of quote-unquote creative thinking inside of me. But the fact of the matter is it's more complicated than that. You could take, for instance, something like the Medici, who I don't think anybody would say are role models in terms of how, you know, fortunes should be built. But you have sort of this bankrolling of the Renaissance and clearly this cultural flourishing. And so in the case of Ilium, you have all of these really interesting tensions. It's not necessarily a society that you would want to live in. It's probably some of the worst excesses of capitalism. And yet there are systems inside that make it work and make things maybe a little less oppressively terrible than what you normally see inside maybe more one-note portrayals of these. And again, the central idea, of course, is totally free markets. And so the thing that I find really interesting about this particular story is, of course, this idea of Miranda's sister and the idea of her individual choice. And of course, the setting being this planet, which is all, at least at a surface value, being about choice and free choice.
Didn't even see it coming.
I just think it's a nice little. I think it's a nice little sort of supplement to the story. And Sleepbringer says got hired as an IT support at a roadside assistance company. Going to still be doing help desk, but not over the phone, thank goodness. And apparently, presumably not roadside IT.
Even with all your upgrades, you're human just like the rest of us.
But I let it get personal and I screwed up. Why didn't you let me kill him? I could have handled that. But watching him get gunned down by that Asari bitch.
You still cared for him, even if he betrayed you.
You're right. And my father knew it. He used that against me. It's always been like this. My father gave me anything I ever wanted. But there was always a hook, an angle for his long-term plan. I threw away everything he ever gave me when I ran. Except Niket. Weakness on my part?
You can't toss aside everything you care about just to be safe.
It's okay, Shepard. My father hurt me, but he didn't break me. As much as he tried to turn me into exactly what he wanted, I'm my own person.
Any other old friends your father might use against you?
No, I cut ties with everyone else. Anyone I'm close to now works for Cerberus. Or you. My father's powerful, but he won't cross the elusive man.
You still have Oriana.
My father didn't give her to me. I rescued her, but yes, you're right. I still have something. Thank you. No sign of Eclipse. It looks like we're clear. There she is. She's safe. with her family. Come on, we should go.
Don't you even want to say hello?
It's not about what I want, it's about what's right for her. The less she knows about me, the better. She's got a family. A life. I'll just complicate that for her.
She doesn't need any details, but would it really be so bad for her to know she has a sister who loves her?
I guess not.
Go on. We'll wait here.
I like that story. And like I said, I think it's an example here. So I still think Mass Effect's a really nice looking game. Obviously it's an older one, so we've become quite a bit more accustomed to a certain level of polish on top level games. But I think, you know, the visuals in here are enough. And I think it's probably just because of the setting that they work. They're sort of hung in space that, you know, it's not, it's a little bit like how some movies, when you see the cutting edge special effects and then you watch the thing like 4 years later and it looks like a special effect that is trying to achieve photorealism. This kind of seems to exist just between that obviously it's trying to go for the most visual fidelity that it can, but it sort of, because it's kind of got this consistent look to it, this I guess this sort of consistent style. Like, so for instance, I'd give you an example. If I think if the only thing I would change about Ilium, if you were to make Mass Effect 2 today, is I feel like the planet should feel a lot more crowded. But even then, like I remember Ilium was the one that really captured my imagination when I played this game. But to give you an example about one of the reasons why I still really enjoy this game is when you think about polish, to me it's less about the visual polish, and it's just more how when you have these themes inside of each of the missions, they tend to have these resonances. So, you know, there's the surface level, which is, you know, I've got my sister, and, you know, I hate my dad, he's very controlling, he saw us a science project, you know, we just happened to be the version of the experiment that worked well, and that's the only reason he kept us, and I need to protect my sister. Will you help me do that? And then, of course, there's the decision that Niket makes and all of the complexities around that. And then, of course, the ideas of choices and whatnot. But again, there's just that last little bit, which is the fact that it takes place on Ilium. At each point, you sort of have these ideas constantly reflected. And I really think that that's kind of the essence of where you go from good stories being told to great ones. And I think this is kind of present throughout Mass Effect 2, but in particular here, like, what do you think about it? You know, you don't necessarily have to do the loyalty missions. It's probably better that you do them. But I don't know, just I think examples like that, it's to me why I think Mass Effect 2, in addition to the fact that, like, obviously I played it at the right time, it was my exposure to what games had become after that big gap, but to be able to sort of sit back and just be able to sort of appreciate how much has gone into the stories and sort of how much seems to be done. Again, they never want to leave it just at that surface level. They always seem to add an extra layer of detail, or they never really seem to go for the cliche. They always seem to just go one layer deeper, and it's why I think I've really been able to just revel in playing Mass Effect 2. You know, again. So Anyways, mission summary. Miranda's sister and her family successfully placed at location redacted. Mother's new job pays well enough to ensure comfort and ease. We'll keep Oriana under observation for her safety only. Miranda Lawson is too valuable to Cerberus, and Oriana's well-being is easiest means of procuring loyalty. Miranda remains loyal to Cerberus and now trusts Shepard. Miranda power unlocked, a biotic body slam that inflicts massive damage. Miranda, new outfit. Some machine gun damage. Use the research computer in the Normandy's lab to build the upgrade. Weapon upgrade, squad bonus plus 30% to submachine gun damage. Upgrades the submachine guns for your entire squad. The upgrade improves the weapon's mass effect field generator, increasing the velocity of each slug fired. Additional metagel capacity, 15,000 credits. Found 13,500 for a total of 28,500 credits. 500 element, 0, and a partridge in a pear tree.
I'll deal with it.
Take pictures.
Touch me and I will smear the walls with you, bitch! Enough. Stand down, both of you.
The cheerleader won't admit what Cerberus did to me was wrong.
It wasn't Cerberus. Not really. But clearly you were a mistake.
Screw you! You've got no idea what they put me through. Maybe it's time I showed you.
Our mission is too important to let personal feelings get in the way.
Fuck your feelings. I just want her dead.
You both know what we're up against. Save your anger for the collectors.
I can put aside my differences. Until the mission's over.
Sure, I'll do my part. I'd hate to see her die before I get a chance to fillet her myself.
You two gonna be okay?
It's a good thing you came by when you did.
I don't think Shepard really resolved this.
We'll be fine. Thanks, Shepard.
All right, story time.
Thanks again, Shepard. Taking the time to help me with my sister. I couldn't have reached Oriana in time without your help. I'm glad Niket tried to redeem himself, for what good it did. Thank you for stopping me, Commander.
Are you happy about your sister's relocation?
She has what I wanted her to have. A normal life, and the freedom to choose her own path. And she knows she has an older sister. A friend.
I like the hexagons on the outfit. I feel like you could play like a miniature war game on it, and there'd be like this... It's almost like Thermopylae. You know, you hold them off at the hot gates, where their numbers count for nothing.
Are you gonna talk to her again?
I honestly don't know. For once, I haven't planned that far ahead. I'll deal with it after our mission. I have to stay focused, and she needs time to adjust to her new home.
You never told me what you talked about.
I introduced myself. Her family was shocked. She adjusted quickly, of course. She's as smart as I am. She plays the violin, loves the Adagio movement of Nielsen's Fifth, just like I do. She wants to work in colony development. Told a joke about it. She's really funny, something we don't share.
Let me know if I can do anything else.
I think I got it from here. My father has no chance at finding her family in their new location. But thank you, Commander. My sister is safe again thanks in large part to you. I won't forget that.
I really think so, Ego Karen. They're like really good for covering areas. I don't know. Hexagons
Commander,
are great.
What can I do for you?
Do you have a minute, Miranda?
There's a lot to do, Shepard. Maybe another time.
I got your sister, damn it.
Of course, Commander.
How much you want to bet that Garrus is busy doing his calibrations? Oh, apparently my mouse is getting out of the... Okay, if one of you winds up banned as a result of me misfiring with the mouse, I apologize. Let me try and tab out to fix that.
Any chance we could get to the Citadel, Shepard? I'd like to follow that lead on Sidonis.
Tell me again about Sidonis.
Sidonis was on my team back on Omega. He's the one who betrayed us. He disappeared just before the attack, but I found him, or at least a way to get to him. There's a specialist on the Citadel, name's Fade. He's an expert at helping people disappear. Sidonis was seen with him.
What happened? How did Sidonis betray your team?
He tipped off the mercs, told them where our base was. He drew me out with a false job, then let the mercs hit my team. My men weren't prepared. They tried to hold them off. By the time I got back, there were only 2 survivors. They didn't last long. All 10 of them dead. Because of him.
What are you planning to do when you find him?
You humans have a saying, an eye for an eye, a life for a life. He owes me 10 lives, and I plan to collect.
You sure that's how you want to play it?
I'm sure. I don't need you to agree with me, but I'd like your help.
Where do we find Fade?
I've arranged a meeting. We'll meet him in a warehouse near the Neon Markets down on Zakera Ward. Thanks, Shepard. I appreciate you taking the time to help me.
Telling me about your calibrations, Garrus.
Any chance we could get to the
Damn
Citadel,
it!
Shepard? I'd like to follow that lead on Sidonis.
I'll let you know, Garrus.
I'll be here if you need me.
I don't think there's going to be anything for Dr. Chakvis, but we'll take a quick look. I'll also take a minute and read some of the codex.
How may I help you, Commander?
Yeah.
I'll see you later, Doctor.
Commander.
I think I'll do a few of the codex entries if you guys don't mind. And then I'll try and get at least something resembling mission. Oh, hang on. I still have a... I still have a locket to deliver. Well, maybe I'll... Okay, I think I will... I'll talk with the members of the team. I will figure out this locket and maybe codexes, or maybe I'll do the codexes and then the locket. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
I mentioned when we met on Ilium that I was dying. It's called Kepral's syndrome. It's not communicable, but I have less than a year to live.
Are you feeling sick? I could get the doctor.
No. Though I suppose that is a part of it. My mortality has me dwelling on things. I had a family once. I still have a son. His name is Kolyat. I haven't seen him for a very long time.
How long's it been since you talked?
10 years. He showed me some of his schoolwork and asked if we could dance crazy. We did that when he was younger.
What sort of dance is that?
I checked my extranet contacts. I expect an update on my next target. The console plays music, old, unfashionable. Kolyat jumps into the room. My father runs around in circles. I scoop him up, toss him into the air. He shrieks, laughs, spin me. The console beeps. I put him down. Click the message. Father, he pleads. Tucks my sleeve. I need to read this, I say. I don't look at him.
A chocolate fish. Welcome, by the way. Thank you for that follow. I have not played Alan Wake, but I got Alan Wake and An American Nightmare off of GOG, so it is something I'd like to play eventually. Is it something that you recommend?
Did something happen to them?
I abandoned them. Oh, not all at once. Nothing dramatic, no sneaking out in the middle of the night, no final argument or slammed door. I just did my job. I hunted and killed across the galaxy. Away on business, my wife would tell people. I was always away on business.
You never mentioned this before. Why now?
When my wife departed from her body, I attended to that issue. I left Kolyat in the care of his aunts and uncles. I have not seen him or talked to him since.
Okay, it's actually installed on my machine, so I I will admit I've been wanting... I don't know how much it counts as a horror game. There used to be a thing that I did reasonably well. So for games like Outlast or Amnesia or something along those lines, I used to be fairly decent at playing them fairly stoically. So, you know, I'd talk a little bit like I am over Mass Effect. And, you know, I tend to be sort of the opposite of what most sort of horror streams wind up being. I tend not to react very well. I love those types of games. It's just they tend not to be the sort of thing that makes me react in an over-the-top way, which tends to be the way that those kinds of streams go. So I had a little bit of a niche for that, but I sort of ran out of games to play in that genre, and I've got a few that I'd like to do. So there's Outlast 2, there's... I'd like to try and do Alien Isolation. And then when I started getting suggestions, some people said Dead Space, but Alan Wake came up a lot, so you know, I'm always looking for some new things. And you mentioned actually, so as you say, based on how much monologuing there's been about story and imagery and such, it'd be interesting. And that's definitely the sort of stuff that I'm looking for. It's actually why I really like doing games. I mean, Mass Effect in one sense has a bunch of themes to work with. But I think one of the things that's so interesting about horror games is that obviously they're designed to make you feel a particular emotion. And because I don't... Like, I feel tension during them, but it's not that I leap out in fright each time something comes up. So it gives me a chance to talk a little bit about why, you know, I feel the way that I feel in those kinds of games. So it sounds like it's something right up my alley. Thank you for the recommendation. I have no idea when I'll get a chance to play it, but normally when I have an idea along those lines, I try to tweet it out or I say it on the cast. So don't play Outlast 2. It's far worse than the original. I kind of want to play it, though, Ego. I mean, maybe I'll just play it on my own before I do it on stream, but I'd like to form an opinion on it if I can. And you read the book for it since it wasn't on PS3. I didn't know there was an Alan Wake book.
That's not the choice I expected. Why didn't you raise him yourself?
My body is blessed with the skills to
Oh, the
take
game
life.
2 is a great one.
The Hanar honed them in me. I have few others. I didn't want that life for Kolyat. I hoped he would find his own way. If he hated me, so be it. He would not have shared the path of sin. I used my contacts to trace Kolyat. He has become disconnected. He does what his body wills.
You'll have to explain that one to me.
Disconnected. The body is not our true self. The soul is. Body and soul work as one in a whole person. When the soul is weakened by despair or fear, when the body is ill or injured, the individual is disconnected, no longer whole.
What's wrong with him? Is he hurt?
Something happened that should not have. He knows where I've been, what I've done. I don't know his reasons, but he has gone to the Citadel. He's taken a job as a hitman. I would like your help to stop him. This is not a path he should walk.
You don't hire a raw rookie for a contract killing.
I'm afraid someone may have seen we share a name and assumed we share skills. I don't know why he would accept the task.
To be closer to you, maybe?
That thought haunts me more than any other.
Thane, I don't have your contacts and I don't have your tracking skills. Why do you need my help for this?
I don't need your help. I want it. The last time I saw my son, they wrapped her body in sea vines, weighted it with stones. He tries to pull from me, calls for her. The Hanar lift her off the platform. They sing like bells. The fire has gone to be kindled anew. He begs them not to take her away.
They let her body slide into the water. He hits me. Don't let them. Stop them. Why weren't you?
Rains. It always rains on Kaje. Warm water pours down his face.
I didn't mean to make you relive that.
Perfect memory. It is sometimes a burden.
What made him go to the Citadel?
Years ago, I prepared a package for him. A relic of my ill-spent life. I had Volus bankers store it, and arranged for delivery when I died. He acquired it early. I don't really know how. I did wet work on the Citadel around the time his mother died. That may be why he went there.
Sean Bean, I don't know about you, but I basically, I have Thane's ability, but only for the most, like, personality maiming moments of embarrassment that I've ever had in my life. Everything from, like, age 6 up to today, I have perfect recall of the most humiliating moments of my life, and nothing else. It's truly a gift.
I'll get us to the Citadel as soon as possible.
Thank you, Shepard. I'll be meditating until you need me.
All right. Oh wait, there's nobody I care about in that room.
I am glad I joined your team. It has been too long since I traveled with companions. When the time comes, I will do whatever is necessary.
You're an important part of this crew, Samara.
It is my honor. Also, there is a matter I need to discuss. When we met on Ilium, I told you about a very dangerous person I was pursuing. Using the information you obtained, I have located her. She's been going by the name Morinth. I would like to apprehend her before she disappears again.
Didn't you say you'd pick up her trail after our mission?
I know where she is, right now. In a month, she may be gone. This is the best opportunity I've ever had.
Where is she?
Omega, a nightclub called Afterlife, which seems a perfect place for her to hunt.
How important is this?
Killing her has been my focus for 400 years. It is the most important thing in my life, and the reason I became a Justicar.
Tell me about her.
She is an Ardat Yakshi. It is a term from a dead Asari dialect. It means demon of the night winds, but that is mythology. She is simply a very dangerous woman who kills without mercy.
I really want to give this reply, but...
So is an Ardat Yakshi a special kind of murderer?
Morinth suffers a rare genetic disorder. When she mates with you, there is no gentle melding of nervous systems. She overpowers yours, burns it out, hemorrhages your brain. You end up a mindless shell, and soon after, you are dead.
Why isn't this ever mentioned in Asari literature or art?
When we were primitive, there was much fascination with Ardat Yakshi. Some cultures worshipped them as gods of destruction. Now the Asari have a place in the galaxy, and they don't wish this defect to be widely known. As far as I know, only 3 exist today. 2 chose a life of seclusion. The 3rd ran.
Morinth.
She ran, and I am sworn to kill her.
I don't know that I blame her for running.
When she fled, she proved her addiction. She was not taking a great moral stand. She simply wants to keep killing. She is a tragic figure, but not a sympathetic one.
Can't she abstain?
Each encounter gives her strength. The effect is narcotic. The more she does it, the more she needs to do it. She will never stop. She can't.
I'm actually genuinely curious what chat's responses to that is, Sean Bean.
So you hunt down these Asari just because they're born with a genetic condition?
It manifests with maturity. When one is diagnosed, she is offered the chance to live in seclusion and comfort. If she refuses, it shows her addiction to the ecstasy she gets from killing her mates. There is no redemption for such a person.
They have to choose between prison and death.
It is an addictive condition. Remember how adaptive we are. If Morinth does not want to be cured, she won't be.
This is definitely worthy of your full attention.
She confuses her victims, twists their feelings. They will do anything for her favor.
We need to stop her.
Thank you, Commander. There are no words to express what this means to me.
But I bet there's telepathy.
This creature, this monster. She is my daughter.
Oh, by the way. No.
You said this is genetic. How many children do you have?
3. And 3 Ardat Yakshi are in existence today. It is as it sounds. Morinth was always the wild one. She was happy and free, but selfish.
I cannot imagine what this is like for you.
Get away from me,
Shepard. I do
Shepard.
not want pity, Shepard. I do not accept it. My daughter's condition is my fault, and my redemption lies in killing her. Do not pity me.
Simply understand my situation.
How did all this happen?
I spent my youth on the move, adventuring. I killed people, mated with them, or just danced the night away. I learned so much, experienced so much, and then my matron days came. I could finally sit back, bask, and enjoy my family. But in one moment, it was all taken away.
Sounds terrible.
I sat in a med lab while a nearsighted doctor droned at me, and I learned that nothing was as I thought it would be. I gave up all that I possessed. I own nothing, claim nothing. All my knowledge will die with me. Now my purpose is to destroy my own children.
Those moments change you.
And I've hundreds of years left to live with that. I say too much. Forgive me. Help me find my long-lost daughter. And kill her.
We'll go find Morinth.
Yeah, it's a really good observation, Captain Shield. It's one of these things that I've never been able to get a firm grasp on. I mean, it's usually just one of these sort of principle of charity things where I always assume that unless there's evidence to the contrary that, you know, BioWare knows what they're doing. And I know there's some games that are really explicit in terms of sort of communicating, communicating ideas through dialogue and then having a difference. So there's like two ways that people, well, actually it's more than two ways, but there's a few different ways that people do this. So like one will be, you have the dialogue option and then the character says something different. And this is usually used to humorous effect. So for instance, like Monkey Island does this a lot. And then you have maybe an example like the Red Strings Club where, you know, there's somebody sort of threatening to kill you. Like they're playing like Russian roulette and they've had 5 blanks and, you know, it's the standoff and like the 3 dialogue options are pull the trigger. None of which, by the way, your character ever actually says, but of course in the context and the heat of the moment, you've been given the option to opt out every single time, and once it comes down to that final decision, you've pushed it so much, you've already made the choice, and of course the single-mindedness of the moment is expressed in those 3 dialogue options. And so I've never quite been able to figure out in Mass Effect if it's intended that some of the alternative choices, whether they're always supposed to be, you know, the fact that you picked one rather than the other closes the possibility off, or as you point out, the line, you know, sounds a lot like you, whether that's sort of intended to be a bit of foreshadowing, even if you don't deliver the line. And obviously, I'm not gonna, you know, I didn't save before that dialogue, so it's probably not worth going back to test, but I don't know. It's one of these things that, again, it's why playing games like these are a lot of fun to do a second time around, because if you think about, like, Full Throttle, one of my favorite lines of dialogue in that game, it's like, you know, oh, so an illegitimate Corley operation. She's like, I prefer renegade Corley operation. And then once you find out the truth about Marine, that line has a totally different meaning.
Have time now, Shepard. I need to deal with this.
I'm listening. What's the issue?
Something is wrong, Shepard. I feel wrong. Tense. I just want to kill something with my hands. More so than usual. Like it's not my choice. Like I just want to... I don't know. See? Why do that? What's wrong?
Okeer didn't imprint anything to help you figure this out?
I see pictures of old battles, voices of warlords. But this is a blood haze in my head. I want control. When we're moving, fighting, I focus. But here my blood screams, my plates itch, and even you are just noise. I'm tank-born. What is this?
EDI, Anything in your files about Krogan diseases that could cause this?
Cerberus has a number of autopsies on file, but nothing on a living Krogan of this age and situation. Krogan are reluctant to share medical records.
Why would they be reluctant?
Defeated by doctors and labs. They will never let stuff like that leave the homeworld to Chunka.
Joker can get us to the Krogan homeworld. I need everyone at their best.
Thank you, Shepard. I don't like this. Fury is my choice, not a sickness.
I think most of this stuff we're just kind of repeating what we've already done, but obviously we've been away from the game for a while, so I wanna try and cover as much as I can. I really like.
You think we'll make it through this?
Oh!
Of course we will, Gabby.
I mean, as long as we take down the collectors, it's all worth it. Even if we don't make it.
Don't even think that. We'll make it through.
Okay, so Scottish engineers. Did you guys know that Scotty from Star Trek is Canadian? And on top of that, I believe he was... I can't remember if it was World War I or World War II. I'm pretty sure it's World War II. I believe he was... I'm pretty sure it was Europe. I think he might have actually served in Normandy. And was wounded in battle.
Shepard, what can I do for you?
They had to frame him out so that they framed basically the wound out so he didn't seem like.
Have you got time to talk?
Sure. Let me just... Come on, you little boshtet! Oh, sorry. I've got a small fever and I'm taking it out on the poor drive core. Don't worry, it's nothing serious. Got sloppy while doing some suit repair.
You're sick? Do you need help or time to rest?
Really, it's not that bad. If a stray bit of bacteria could really kill us, we'd have all died by now. The fever should go away in a day or two. Don't worry, it won't affect my performance on the mission. It's not even an illness, really. What we experience is actually an acute allergic reaction.
How exactly does the sickness work? It's an allergic reaction?
Right.
Yeah,
Say I get
the original
exposed to a
series.
human disease, like, what did Navigator Presley have that time? Chickenpox? I wouldn't get chickenpox, but I'd run a fever as my system reacted to the foreign presence. Depending on where it hits me, I could get other symptoms. Nausea, vomiting, everything you'd expect from being sick.
I'm sure vomiting inside that suit is just delightful.
How did you get sick this time?
I took some fire in a fight back on the Allerai. Nothing serious, but I needed to open my suit to check the wound. I disinfected properly, but one of the section seals had taken some damage, and foreign matter got out of the disinfected zone. It was a stupid mistake. You always check your seals before doing local treatment. Unless you forget. Then you get a damn fever.
You can seal off part of your suit?
Right. Like dropping emergency doors on a ship during a hull breach. It won't stop an infection that gets into my bloodstream, but it prevents a surface infection from spreading.
I don't know. Do you think the original series would be the same if you don't have, if you didn't have Scotty? I have never seen Star Trek, so I can't tell you. But
You can seal off part of your suit?
oh wait,
Right.
I
Like dropping it won't
did that
stop
before.
an
Sorry.
infection that gets into my bloodstream, but it prevents a surface infection from spreading.
Were your immune system stronger before the Geth drove you from your homeworld?
Not as strong as those of most races, definitely. I'm not a biologist, but there's a theory about it. Because our planet lacked insect life, plants developed symbiotic relationships with large animals to spread seeds or pollen. Most viruses on our world were partially beneficial, so our immune systems evolved to be weak. They were more likely to adapt to contamination than fight it.
But Quarians colonized other worlds. They couldn't have all been like that.
They weren't. Most colonists went through a period of mild illness before adapting to the new environment. When the Geth took the homeworld and our colonies, the sterile environment on the flotilla ruined our immune system's adaptability. Even if we colonized a new world or reclaimed our own, we'd need a long process of bioengineering to recover.
Sorry to interrupt the dialogue here, but here's the bit that I've got. So it was James Montgomery Doohan, Canadian, born in Vancouver, British Columbia. And as far as military service, this is from Wikipedia. At the beginning of the Second World War, Doohan joined the Royal Canadian Artillery and was a member of the 14th Midland Field Battery, 2nd Canadian Infantry Division. He was commissioned a lieutenant in the 14th Field Artillery Regiment of the 3rd Canadian Infantry Division. He was sent to England in 1940 for training. He first saw combat landing at Juno Beach on D-Day. Shooting 2 snipers, Doohan led his men to higher ground through a field of anti-tank mines, where they took defensive positions for the night. Crossing between command posts at 11:30 that night, Doohan was hit by 6 rounds fired from a Bren gun by a nervous Canadian sentry. 4 in his leg, 1 in the chest, and 1 through his right middle finger. The bullet to his chest was stopped by a silver cigarette case given to him by his brother. His right middle finger had to be amputated, something that he would conceal on screen during most of his career as an actor.
I don't know if I could live inside a suit my whole life.
Canadians are
We're in our
badasses.
suits, even among family. The most intimate thing we can do with another Quarian is link our suit environments. We get sick at first, and then we adapt. It's our most important gesture of trust. Of acceptance. I haven't trusted anyone enough for that, though. Except, well, no Quarians. You know what I mean.
I appreciate the thought, Tally. And I feel the same way. But you don't have to prove anything to me.
I know. Nevertheless, I'd be honored to link suits with you, Shepard. You know, if you were a Quarian and we weren't already on a suicide mission. I'm going to tinker a bit more. Thanks for coming by.
Hey.
What's happening?
Shepard, we talked enough. You're just pissing around. No hard feelings, but I don't want to play.
I should go.
Whatever.
Rejected. Alright. I think most of my dialogue's done. I know there's Jacob and Mordrin and I think that's it. Oh, and then the private terminal, obviously. I'm pretty sure we're just going to talk about making noise on the Citadel again.
Commander, can I help you with something?
I'm more interested in just talking for a bit.
I'm good, Shepard. Ready for anything. We live, we'll get loud, and spill some drinks on the Citadel.
We'll talk later.
Commander.
It's really just like my life, Captain Shield.
Still need to get to Tuchanka, Shepard. My student's being held by Bloodpack.
I'll talk to you later, Morden.
We'll be here if you need me.
Alright, let's get a couple upgrades to... Oh. This is, of course, where mining everything we encounter is paying off. I think I'll leave that for now. Let me guess, messages?
New message at your private terminal.
Got anything fancy to say to me?
I had a wonderful chat with your friend Tally. She's not what I expected from her psych report. I like her.
I do too, Kelly. Oh.
Tally's a good friend. We've been through a lot together.
Quarians are so fascinating to me, but they also make me a little sad.
Why do they make you sad?
Their environment suits are so beautiful, but with their immune systems, they're trapped inside. I wonder what they look like under those helmets, or what their skin feels like under those suits.
I've got a guy on Ilium you should talk to. I think you'd get along so well.
Are you attracted to other species?
Well, part of my job is predicting the motives and feelings of humans and aliens. Intimacy brings understanding. And passion is nice wherever you find it. Character matters, not race or gender. Anything else, Commander?
Do you have a moment to talk?
I always have time for you, Commander.
Yeah, we've already done
I
all
better
these.
go.
Okay. Maybe we'll talk later.
Yeah, especially more about you're not too picky about race and gender. Still alive from Detective Anaya. Greetings, Commander. I'm not completely sure that this will get to you, but thanks again for helping me deal with Samara. The Eclipse mercs have gotten real quiet around here, and my superiors have backed off too. No idea if the two are related, but hopefully the next time I meet a Justicar, I can give her the respect that she deserves. I still can't believe I worked a case with one of them. You're a lucky human. If I found any more data on her target, I'll pass it along. Thanks, Detective Anaya, Ilium Law Enforcement. Alright, so I still have one more thing to do on Ilium, which is to return the locket. But how about before we do that, I will do our tradition. I know you guys have been enduring a lot of story, but that is kind of the reason why this game is so good. So let's do some codices, and as is our way... Whew, I got a lot of those to do. Okay, let's take care of the council races first, because I think we got only one new one. Or no new ones? Normally it marks... Okay, fair enough. Citadel and Galactic Government. Nope. Oh, these are secondary. Fair enough. The ring is an enclosed loop of park-like space serving as the connection point for the wards. The interior wards are lined with embassies of influential species and private residences for the galaxy's elite. The Presidium is full of open-air restaurants, bars, and luxurious meeting areas. Gravity is about 1/3 of Earth's normal. A holographic sky is projected over the ceiling of the ring. Unlike the 24/7 bustle of the wards, the Presidium maintains a 20-hour day schedule with a 6-hour night where lights are dimmed and the sky goes through a night cycle. Offices and residences are often open to the interior. It is not unusual for embassies to have no exterior wall at all. This does not cause a cries problem due to the heavy C-Sec presence and ubiquitous monitoring devices on the Presidium. Thieves are quickly identified and apprehended. The ring is the location of the Citadel's spaceports. Being closer to the center of the spin, there is less motion for the ship to match, and the reduced spin gravity makes handling cargo easier. Hundreds of ships pass through the Citadel every day, and every species with an embassy is granted a private dock. The tower at the center of the ring holds the administration of the Citadel Council. The tower rises over a kilometer from the ring, appearing to thrust forward parallel to the ward arms. As the tower is at the center of the spin axis, it experiences little centrifugal force. Gravity is maintained using mass effect fields at a 90-degree angle to the ring and the wards. A consular dock can be found at the base of the tower. While normally used for diplomatic couriers and spectre business, shuttles docked here can evacuate the council government in an emergency. I think I'm going to finish the last couple of Citadel Station ones, and we'll go back to the primary ones, because that's normally the game doing the reading for me, and that gives me a chance to get a little water. The Citadel is surrounded by a blue-tinted reflection nebula. The light of the nebula is actually light from the Citadel, scattered and reflected back at the station. At first, the Serpent Nebula is assumed to be made of microscopic construction debris. Prevailing theory holds that the Protheans used molecular nanotechnology to manufacture the incredibly durable materials used in the Citadel. But unlike other nebulae, the Serpent does not dissipate over time. Therefore, it must be replenished constantly. The current popular theory is that non-recyclable waste collected by the Citadel's keeper is somehow rendered down to the atomic or molecular level and ejected into the cloud. The thick nebula presents a navigation hazard. Beyond the relatively clear areas around the Citadel, electrical discharges are common. These are not blocked by kinetic barriers and can severely damage metal-framed starships. In addition, some dense knots of dust can overwhelm the repulsion of kinetic barriers on smaller ships. If such a vessel is moving fast enough through the at the time, the effects are similar to being hit by a sandblaster. Attempting to reach the Citadel through open space navigation is unadvisable. The only safe approach is through various mass relays that orbit it. Oh, you know what? It looks like we're at the bottom, so I'll do the remaining entries and then we'll head to primary. Although the Citadel is equipped with Mass Effect generating Element 0 cores, most of the gravity on the station is generated by the centrifugal force of the rotation. Rotation 3.5 minutes per revolution, rotational gravity in the wards 1.02 Earth, rotational gravity in the Presidium 0.3 Earth, total length open 44.7 kilometers, diameter open 12.8 kilometers, ward length 43.6 kilometers, ward width 330 meters, Presidium ring diameter 7.2 kilometers, Presidium ring width 553 meters, exterior armor thickness 13 meters, population 13.2 million, not including the keepers, gross weight 7.11 billion metric tons, and the height of Presidium Tower is 1,047 meters, or 1 kilometer. Citadel Station wards. The majority of the Citadel's population lives in the wards, the 5 massive arms of the station that house the residential and commercial districts. Many galactic races have established cultural enclaves here. Population density and the cost of living are extremely high, akin to Earth cities such as Hong Kong and Singapore, or Vancouver. The wards are open-topped with skyscrapers rising from the superstructure. Towers are sealed against vacuum as the breathable atmosphere envelope is only maintained to a height of about 7 meters. The atmosphere is contained by the centrifugal force of the rotation and a membrane of dense, colorless sulfur hexafluoride gas held in place by carefully managed Mass Effect fields. The view from the wards is spectacular. In the background, stars, Serpent Nebula, and the nearby blue giant called the Widow move across the sky as the station rotates to stabilize itself. In the foreground, the lights of buildings and vehicles on the opposing ward arms perpetually shine. The Citadel has no real day or night. While the station keeps to standard galactic time for political functions, businesses rarely close, and residents acclimate to sleep and work according to the personal need rather than a day-night cycle. Additions and modifications are constantly being constructed, though they may stay within certain specifications that will not compromise the operation of the station. Occasionally, the Keepers will descend on an area of the wards and move or change the architecture without explanation. Residents have learned to live with these inexplicable intrusions. Incidentally, a funny thing out of this is I always sort of imagined for the Citadel that you could sort of figure out how important you were in the government based on what your sleep cycle was. So like there would sort of be this primary time when sort of the council races are meeting, and you know, if you're like the primary ambassador, obviously you're going to be active during that. Whereas if you get like the night shift, it sort of means you're a member of the B team or something like that. It's a little bit like in, you know, government. If you're on the Privy Council, you're basically advising the Prime Minister. And then, you know, you can sort of know which departments are in favor and out of favor and things like that. I always kind of thought that the Citadel worked that way, although there's nothing inside the game to, you know, to suggest that. The Treaty of Fraxen. Due to the destructive potential of dreadnoughts, the Council races agreed at the Fraxen Naval Conference to fix the ratio of dreadnought construction between themselves. At the top of the pyramid is the peacekeeping Turian fleet. Below the Turians are the other Council races, currently the Asari and the Solarians. Council associate races are at the bottom. The Human Systems Alliance is part of this last group. The ratio of Turian to Council to associate dreadnoughts is 5-3-1. For every dreadnought humans are permitted to build, the Asari have 3 and the Turians 5. But what about the Solarians? Alright. So, weapons, armor, and equipment.
The Collector's particle beam weapon is strangely crafted, possessing few moving parts, lacking any obvious means for disassembly, and containing organic parts. The amount of energy required to create a destructive beam is several orders of magnitude more than the energy required to launch a physical projectile at high velocity via a Mass Effect field. Lacking any clear ammunition or fuel source, the device likely uses heat sinks or compensators to maintain firing during sustained combat. Current Cerberus efforts to understand the technology and replicate it have failed. Still in its experimental stages, the M622 Avalanche generates a Bose-Einstein condensate within a Mass Effect bubble, which dissipates on impact, violently spraying the condensate outward and coating the target in a near-absolute zero superfluid. The Avalanche is unreliable, at times merely coating its target with ice, defacing exposed skin and freezing armor joints. Such low temperatures cause great damage to electronics like kinetic barrier emitters, which sometimes leads to total systems failure. At the other extreme, the Avalanche freezes flesh and bone, causing massive trauma as blood vessels constrict and frozen blood expands. Occasionally, such iced tissue shatters. Medigel is a common medicinal salve used by paramedics, EMTs, and military personnel. It combines several useful applications: a local anesthetic, disinfectant, and clotting agent all in one. Once applied, the gel is designed to grip tight to flesh until subjected to a frequency of ultrasound. It is sealable against liquids, most notably blood, as well as contaminants and gases. The gel is a genetically engineered bioplasm created by the CERTA Foundation, a medical technology megacorp based on Earth. Technically, Medigel violates Council laws against genetic engineering, but to date, it has proved far too useful to ban. Based on existing technology, the ML-77 is a rapid-fire missile launcher using seeking projectiles. Each projectile features a friend or foe recognition system, ensuring it will find a hostile target even if the user's aim is not completely accurate.
You have my
The
attention.
weapon excels at taking out snipers and other entrenched enemies in dense urban environments. This makes it popular with mercenary groups, particularly the Blue Suns mercenary band. Missile launchers have been appearing with increasing frequency in the Terminus system, but their point of manufacture is unknown. Legal duplication of missile launchers is difficult due to Fabrication Rights Management, FRM, technology.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to eject out of that. So we're done for primary. If it says that there's new stuff in here, I'll check that out. But I think the way that I'm going to handle this in the future, obviously we've got quite a bit left in terms of the secondary. So what will probably happen as I continue on through the game, we obviously have a lot of other content to get through as well, but what I'll probably do is I will double up the secondary readings until we catch up, and then maybe once I'm down to sort of the last 3, I might sort of pull back on the gas. But we'll see how far we get inside the story before I make decisions like that. I'm going to save really quick just so I don't lose all of this, and then we'll do our last mission on Ilium. I may not have enough time to do another sort of main story mission, but we'll figure out where that's going. I mean, maybe what I might do, just so we can, you know, we can close off. Maybe I'll just explore the rest of the systems. Although I know normally the way I like handling that is to sort of say, okay, I'm gonna do like the exploration and mining on my own, and then we can come back for some, you know, for more of the gameplay. Because obviously I get a lot of my dialogue, like obviously I talk a lot about the game and the ideas behind it, which is already not directly gameplay. I don't think it's bad. It's obviously sort of my comparative advantage in terms of streaming. But I think sometimes it's a little much to ask of people if I do a lot of mining in a game, and then on top of that, you know, you have to sit through some codices and maybe me talking about what the game meant to me the first time that I played, and it's like, could I see you fire a gun at least once in this 3-hour cast? So, ooh, I actually kind of like the black outfit. Tough call. I think we'll go for the default look. Not that I'm bringing Miranda anyway. Let's go for the last disruptor ammo. Oh, so heavy disruptor ammo. This ammunition's electromagnetic properties cause synthetics to critically overload and explode. 1.5 second recharge, lasts until overridden by another ammo power. Plus 60% weapon damage to shields and synthetics. Overload for 3 seconds and overheat for 6. And then squad disruptor ammo. Your entire squad gains the disruptor ammo's effects, allowing you to catch synthetics in deadly crossfires. I think in this case I'm going to focus on my individual character's abilities, and then what I'll just do is I'll make sure that I counterbalance that by choosing appropriate upgrade. Well, you know what? I honestly never choose appropriate upgrade class, but I'm going to assume that my own squad mates are going to specialize. So, do auto level up. Okay, let's find out who... I wonder if there's any details in the mission. Find an Asari looking for a missing locket. I'm going to assume it's not her.
Commander, a pleasure to see you again. Can I help you with something?
I'm on a mission. Can you help me find someone?
I can help you find major entertainment centers or stores, but I'm afraid I can't point you to individual people. Liara is excellent at that type of work, however. I imagine she can help you.
Thank you.
Have a pleasant visit.
Liara, the information broker. Who's looking for this locket?
Life can be uncertain. That's why you need an omni-gel programming solution that works. Whether constructing single-use equipment or breaking down salvage gear.
By the way, I do like the fact that it depends on what character you have in your squad in terms of statements about what's going on. I've always...
No, you don't understand. I lost it somewhere near the transport terminal. Pardon me, I'm dealing with damn Ilium travel bureaucracy.
Were you trying to get them to help you find this locket?
Oh, Stephen, thank you.
My name's Shepard.
Thank you so much. My daughter was young when he died. This is the only memento she has of him. Please accept this. It's much less than I would have had to pay the bureaucrats to authorize a search.
Well, that was easy. Thanks, guys. That's the end of the cat. No. Let's get out of here.
Are you okay? You seem touchy. It's not biotic neural itching, is it?
Not biotic neural itching. Okay. So no side missions like this. I've got a ton of loyalty missions. Obviously, we won't stop the collectors until we finish those. I'm assuming the remaining file is because there's a DLC that I don't own. I know I got some extra content because I have the Origin Basic, which, by the way, is a spectacular program. It's like $5, and I think they just added like Darksiders 3 or something to that. But like a lot of people have been recommending games like, you know, oh, you should play This Is the Police and stuff like that. And I always feel a little conflicted whenever people say stuff like that, because I really do want to get more games, but the problem is it's sometimes hard to justify spending like $20-25 on a game so that I can play it on cast when I already have so many other alternatives. And I also don't like just immediately assuming it's like, hi, I'm an influencer, so I believe I should get your game for free. Like, I do kind of want to support games where I can, so you have that tension between the affordability of streaming and you know, the ability to play the stuff that people recommend. And these subscription services are really helpful. You know, I'm not totally sold on Humble Monthly, so I don't consistently get that, but the Trove is good for that. But honestly, between the price you pay and the games that you get, I've been really impressed by Origin Access. For instance, like, I wouldn't go out of my way to buy The Sims 4, but I've really enjoyed playing it. And obviously it's been able to give me a slightly better Mass Effect 2 experience than I otherwise would have gotten. So I'm just going to double check here. Oh, hello, serial sex murderer, you say. Okay, so Omega, the Citadel. So I'm pretty sure Tuchanka is going to be our next. So I think Tuchanka, Tuchanka, the Citadel, and then Omega will be our last. That's bad. You were saying something about the characters, though. Can you be more specific, Captain Shield? I'm probably just losing my mind at this point. So I think Tuchanka is in one of these external systems. Nope. No, it is not. I'll do one system of exploration and then I'll come back. Well, I mean, realistically, 5 minutes, I'm not going to be able to get a mission in on that, so I think we might just call it. I'll mine out this planet and then I'll do the rest on my own time. So, but how about? I mean, the problem that I have here is I need to get a little bit better at ending on like a high note, because I don't like shafting whoever I wind up hosting next by like, hey guys, it's gonna be low impact, I'll give you less of a reason to watch, and you know, like not having people there to sort of pick up at a more high energy cast. So do hang around for a bit. I won't spend a lot of time on this, but while I'm at it, we can do a quick Q&A, either in terms of Mass Effect stuff, or does anybody have any plans for the new year? Does anybody want to know? So I don't really do New Year's resolutions, but I have been keeping a checklist of things that I want to do, and the ones that I've successfully been pulling off, and the ones that I need a little more discipline on. I don't know if that's of interest to anybody but me. Can also talk about the blogs coming up. So I've noticed the Canadian film one is probably the least popular blog that I've done, which is a shame, because I really like Arthur Lipsett and I feel like his story should be told. I normally read this out, but again, I'm trying to get this done relatively quickly. I'll probably do another article at some point in the future on Norman McLaren, because he is an incredibly... So one, he's an incredibly impressive filmmaker, but number two, he seems to have a lot more mainstream appeal than Arthur Lipsett. So I think I'll be on firmer ground. Like, it's a pretty common reaction to the Arthur Lipsett stuff that I show. It's like, you know, I understand it's important to you, but like, I don't get this stuff, and that's completely fair. Like, I can't ask people to watch, you know, weird experimental 60s movies and say, you know, but this like anticipates React videos and you know, music videos and the audio, and it, you know, George Lucas and Stanley Kubrick thought it was great. Like, it's a hard sell. As much as I love it. I actually got a book on Arthur Lipsett that came into the mail today, and there's a nice little thank you note attached to it, which I thought was super cool of the bookseller. It's really small though. Like, it's really a statement in terms of how this guy does not seem to have gotten the level of sort of critical attention that that other filmmakers, even ones who were sort of operating in the same space at his time, have. About the fact that it depends on what character you have in your squad in terms of state. Oh, yeah. So, like, obviously, Miranda's comment on the sort of the cultural capital of Ilium is, I think it's just kind of neat that you have to have certain personalities in your squad to find out about the world. So, for instance, you know, the way I play this game does not reveal all of the little nooks and crannies of the Mass Effect world, because I always insist on bringing Tali and Jack. And that's fine, because of course I get a Tali and Jack view of the world, and I find them interesting characters, and I like hearing their comments. And the funny thing is that there's really no reason for me to bring those two characters all the time, because I get a chance to pick a squad before, you know, before the action happens. So it's really just me being lazy. But yeah, I mean, if you want to find out everything about the planet that you're on, you bring a variety of different characters, and and the game will give you little opportunities with the vistas for somebody to give some commentary on what's going on. I think it's a nice touch.
Anomaly detected.
Oop.
All units report to
for possible anti-invasion scans have found something.
Mercenary activity detected inside a mining facility on the planet's surface. Facility confirmed to be registered Eldfell Ashland Energy Corporation. Eclipse presence confirmed. Distress beacon powered down at site. Sensors detect multiple spacefaring vessel launches from the facility. I will land and save because I am at the 3-hour mark and it is almost 1 o'clock in the morning and I have some stuff to do before I go to bed. So it'll give us a nice action-packed start to next week. For those of you curious about what's going to be going on for the stream, next week probably more Stellaris on Monday, and then on Wednesday it'll be Cultist Simulator as usual. I don't think we're the third. No, we're not the third Wednesday yet. So just keep in mind that I usually do go to Dirty Rectangles on the third Wednesday of each month, which means that Cultist Simulator sometimes gets bumped for that. And then I'm pretty sure we'll be at Mass Effect pretty consistently for every Friday until we're done with it. If you are interested in some of the other stuff that I do, I am doing a pretty consistent vodcast of the Elder Scrolls. We're currently on Dragonfall, despite the fact that I run into some difficulty with some of the mechanics in the game. Daggerfall is a massively impressive game. I am having a great time with it, even if I struggle a bit with it. If you want to hear me do a poor approximation of a Morrowind Dunmer voice, that's another opportunity for to check it out. That's going to be consistently Tuesdays at 7 o'clock. Do keep in mind it's a pre-recorded video, so I can't respond to things in chat unless I'm typing in chat. And then at that point, you know, I do my best, but I do sometimes have other things to do. And if you want to watch the archives of those, we've done the entirety of the Elder Scrolls Arena. That's available on the YouTube channel. And I believe the archive of the Elder Scrolls videos is actually on the Twitch channel. They seem to host those, which is kind of cool. Thursdays, I am doing my best to have Surviving Mars vodcast, but the problem is that the version of OBS that I'm using for the Twitch level bitrate is terrible at recording MP4 video. I have lost 2 videos in their entirety due to that encoding error. So if you want to see those, the idea here is that I do a little bit more of a relaxed sort of pace. You know, I'm a little bit softer in my tone. And just generally it's a chance for people to turn that on while they're waiting to, you know, to go to sleep or something like that. So I've generally gotten some pretty good responses to that. I hope you guys enjoy that. It's really a bit of, it's just something that I've gotten some feedback from people that they like watching my cast when I go to sleep. And I know sometimes I get a little bit clowny or a little bit goofy, or if I get really into the game, I tend to be very vocal or very loud. And so it's something that I wanted to make specifically for the people who are looking for something a little more relaxed. So I've tried to expand it out so that there's something for you to watch on each weekday, but I know I'm a little inconsistent in terms of being able to get that Thursday one, and I'm going to try and get a bit better at that. But yeah, until next time, folks, thank you very much for hanging out. Captain Shield, Ego Akaran, Sean Bean, Sparks5. And let me just take a quick second here. As wonderful as this music is, I do want to give credit to the people who are hosting me. We've got Unknown Brigade, Kaylee Cakes, Maka Angzier, Inferno Fowler, Amber Ray, The Rambler 146, Malicide, Johnny Big Time, K5RTO, Ulster Fighter, okay, sorry, I gotta go from the top again. Amber Ray, Rambler 146, Malicide, Unknown Brigade. By the way, if you want to follow them on on Twitch, it is The Rambler 146. Unknown Brigade, Ulster Fighter, Inferno Fowler, did that just switch on me again? Malicide, Amber Ray, Captain Shield 616, Nubisaur 42, Inferno Fowler, The Rambler 146, Kaylee Cakes, Maka Angzier, Ulster Fighter, The Sleepbringer, K5RTO, Johnny Big Time, Unknown Brigade, and Flofi. I'm really annoyed that Twitch does not keep those fixed in position all the time. But let me just take a quick second here. There's a couple folks I want to see if they are live. So Tristan is not live. I wonder if the Cool Eagle is. Glorious. A couple of you guys were mentioning that you were playing Path of Exile. And I think there are definitely some folks that I want to host tonight, but I don't get a chance to host the Cool Eagle very often. So Cool Eagle I know more so for his Stellaris streams, but I know a few of you guys like Path of Exile, and I know I hosted Octavian a while ago. Octavian's a good friend of the Eyes of Sins, but I know the Cool Eagle is looking to sort of establish his stream a little bit more. It would be wonderful if you guys could come along and give him a bit of support. So feel free to come along. I think I know him reasonably well enough to get the you know, the hosting, you know, you can say the host message and he's not going to get mad at you. But I hope you have a wonderful evening. I hope you have a good time in his chat, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks a lot for hanging out.